Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope your day is going good. Got my dad here. Hey, Dad, how you
How you
doing?
doing?
Been talking about doing this for the better part of like a month now.
Yep.
Glad we finally got it going.
Good, good, good.
If there's any person I can have a conversation with for a long, candid amount of time, it's my dad. We
No pressure.
will talk for hours at a time. So I figured why not record it one time, right? So hey, Dad, thanks for being
Yeah,
here.
no problem, son. Love you.
Um,
I need a hug on camera.
yeah, of course, yeah.
Get my thing in there. I love
Love
you.
Yep. So I've always told people about how cool like the stories you tell all the time is. Just you have a million and a half stories, and I figured we just have an hour or so
Yep,
here just
I'm
talk
down with it.
about
That's it.
your story from start to finish and parts you want to talk about. You know, just as far as like physical ability. If I introduce my dad a little bit, as far as just like physical ability and just positivity are like the high points. I think as
Yeah,
far as if I had to
freaking
describe you to a person, like
I'm
you've
glad.
always. I'm gonna let you talk plenty, but I just want to get
Well, that's cool.
my
That's
rant
cool, man.
off here. I never met a person who is as exceptionally and always positive, right? Which I think is honestly like inspirational
Right.
because like life can be tough sometimes,
I've
right?
learned that you have choices. If you want to be happy, you just got to choose to be happy.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
work
choose it.
for it.
If you wait for life to make you happy, you're never going to be happy.
Yeah,
You got to choose to be happy and make life work around your happiness.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing is like your insane work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think if there's one thing you've always prided yourself
Yeah.
on, it is, even if you don't like your job,
Yeah. I
do it
wanna
to the
be
best of
good
your
at it.
ability.
Hey, I'm working with these kids now. I'm telling them, you're coming here, don't do what you got to do. Do what you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like what you're doing right now. Like right
Yeah.
now, you're working like in a nursing home,
Yep,
right? Like
yep, yep.
you're preparing meals, right?
Yep, I'm
And
basically a server in the dish room, but why I took the job was the aspect where I wanted that interaction, what I consider is the greatest generation
yeah,
in the history of our country was right during and directly following World War II. They built the country
boomers,
up
yeah.
where we've had for almost 80 years now, and the trick is we can't take it for granted because we could lose it just
Like
like
that,
that.
yeah.
So
yeah, and just
I
for
love working with these because these stories are going to die when they die.
yeah,
So if we don't like this pot, that's why I like the idea of the technology.
yeah.
They're time capsules.
Yeah.
We're losing these people.
Well, have you seen those interviews with like the World War II guys where
yeah.
like in this kind of
And the
scenario?
scary thing is they're
It's nice.
losing like 800 every year. Well, guess what?
It's gonna be gone.
There's a
soon,
finite number. Pretty soon they're going to be all gone.
Yeah. And just for a bit of a reference, you were born in '63. So
1962.
you're at, or sorry, '62.
Yep.
Yeah.
End of the baby boomers.
So you're the tail end of the baby
Yep.
boomers. So these guys are kind of like
The
older-
greatest
yeah.
generation. It's not an exaggeration when
Oh,
they
yeah,
say
yeah.
the greatest generation.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
it's kind of ironic because, like, for me, I was born in '95, which is kind of considered to be like the tail end of like the millennial
Yeah.
generation. So we're both kind of positioned at the end
Yeah,
of a generation.
Yeah. Which I
Yeah.
think is almost there's an advantage to being there.
Oh
I
yeah,
really do.
yeah, because you can
All the
relate with.
concepts of that so-called, as we're breaking them into these generations, it's like anything. You start it off, it's all trial and error. Then you get to the end part, it's figured out the whatever the positions, the stature, whatever they want to do. It's all figured out, and
Yeah.
you can help you home in on where you are.
Yeah, and also
And
you
none
can,
of that made any sense.
you can
but
get
I
a lot.
talked
You can relate to who has come before
Yeah,
you, but
yeah.
also
Yeah, what's
relate to
coming
those who
up.
are coming. Yeah,
Yep, and it gives you that perspective. I love that part. I do love that part.
yeah. I'm in a weird spot right now where like I honestly like I relate better. I think with people like in their like 30s and 40s, but I can also still relate to kids who are like in the early
See, and that's
20s.
why, because you're positioning in that generation.
Yeah.
It was same with me. I could just zoom right in with the old people, but then. So when I was 17, my best friend was a 30-year-old.
Yeah, isn't that interesting with that?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of
Yeah.
weird because I won't go into detail, but like I have an 18-year-old coworker and I'm going to be 30 in about
Yeah.
2 weeks. So it's like, you don't choose who you
Yeah.
have that relation
And
with, that
I
connection
I
with.
was telling you, I don't know if you remember this, 3 weeks ago. Remember I was telling you, you're working, you start off, it's the new kid on the block.
Yep.
Green wet behind the ears.
Yep.
Then you find that zone where you are the man.
Yeah.
And then you got to get
Yep.
where I am now, where you appreciate it more. Because I hate to admit it, I'm slowing down. And I know I found my sense of pride, my energy comes from when I'm just
Going.
clipping along. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm being productive. I know that's coming to an end.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, you're in an interesting time in your life right now because it's kind of like you have always prided yourself on your physical ability,
Yeah, I
right?
know, yeah.
But now you got to kind of switch gears.
You know, the thing is, though, I know it's coming, but with me, it ain't going to be gradual.
Yeah.
Because I'm still, it sounds arrogant, I can dust a fucking 25-year-old on most things.
Well, I've
you know?
always prided about you when I talk to people is like your longevity like? Because you're 63 right
I'll be
now.
63 in about
Yeah.
15 days.
Most 63-year-olds I've come in contact with, and this is me just bragging about my dad, but it's just an observation of mine. I feel like you are a lot further ahead of people your age, physically, right?
I think I am.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with like kind of the leanish
Yeah.
physical type, because I think you always said to me how like you when you were younger you'd see those big muscular guys, and what would happen to them with age.
By 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm dusting them, and they're begging me to slow down.
But also, you said when they start getting older, it all just kind of turns into
because they're carrying all that shit, and their
mashed
joints
potatoes.
are shot. So
Yep.
I've been lucky. I think I have a efficient body.
Yeah.
I am efficient machine.
Because you have always had like freaky endurance. I've
Yeah, I
noticed
still
that
do.
in your life. Like
Yeah.
you know, even just a few years ago, you'd be pulling off feats like. Were you saying that like you would just ride ludicrous miles, right? And just walk.
Ludicrous.
Yeah, and we'll get into that.
I love that word, ludicrous.
Ludicrous. Yeah, it's a
That's a
ludicrous
good word.
word.
I like it. I like that. Good word
Speaking of
usage.
which, I think one of our shared passions is coffee.
Coffee.
Sponsored by Wendy's.
All you
just
kids
kidding.
out there, don't drink, don't even smoke weed. Caffeine.
Well, we were talking about this the other day. How like you know if you're gonna have a habit that you get hooked on, coffee's not a bad one because
not.
I think the verdict's still out about if it's bad or good for you. It seems like it has good.
I think they're
and
finding
bad
out
works.
now that the majority, you got to go out of your way to make it a negative.
Yeah, like
You
if you're
really do.
drinking just
if you're making Irish
ridiculous
coffee,
amounts.
if you're dropping whiskey in, maybe it's bad.
Yeah.
Coffee's coffee.
Well, you know what I think it is? It's not the coffee itself, it's if you're putting like, 20 things of sugar, which, you about...
Why I don't, you know why I don't have heart conditions? Because any plaque that was building up on my arteries, I burn that shit off at 110 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
boy.
I was just going to say, too, because you always used to joke, you're like, yeah, I like some coffee with my creamer, because you like a ton of creamer in your coffee. Like,
And that goes back to, I hate to say it, my lifelong stomach concerns. If I have any kink in my arm or that, it's not even nothing that's really...
Would you say that's a genetic thing with our family?
I didn't think about it, but full disclosure, I was really sick last week.
Yeah.
And I remember now my grandmother, even at 80,
Yeah.
she'd be sitting there just, I think it was, and they didn't have diagnosis for that shit.
Yeah.
You just had a rock gut. That's what
Rock
they call
gut,
it.
yeah.
And I've seen my grandmother like suckering.
Intestinal issues.
And I turned to how that generation's so much stronger. One thing, it waylays me. My grandmother, I think she was in the same pain I was, and I never seen that woman slow down.
Yeah.
But she was that generation.
Well, you've always kind of alluded to like how you feel like every generation's a tad bit
Weaker
more
than the one
fragile than the
before.
one
Yeah,
before,
maybe I
yeah.
shouldn't say weaker, but
Yeah. Well, it takes me like
Yeah.
that expression I think I told you where it's like, what was the expression? It's like, how's it go? Hard men create good times.
Yeah,
Good
good
time
times.
create weak men.
Yes.
Weak men create hard times.
Yes,
Hard
yeah.
times create. So it's
you
a
just got that
cycle.
cycle. You got it going there, man.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
So it's kind of
it.
like we're.
Yeah.
My question is, where do you think we are right now in that cycle with like these kids now?
See,
I think we're at the tail
God,
end.
I'm gonna. I hate when I sound like an old man, but I am not optimistic.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not
I think
optimistic.
most people would probably actually
Yeah.
agree with that statement.
I think-
though.
I can see the writing on. We can. It's like with global warming. We all know what's going on, but it's like we're paralyzed by the result that we can't even. It's like you see the train coming, you can't take a step to the left to get out of the way of the train.
It's almost like we have deer, like
in
what's
the
it called?
headlights,
Deer
yeah,
headlights.
deers in the headlight, yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
you're
I'm
kind of
really
just
worried.
frozen.
And I hate to say, it, I see it with the kids I work with. They're 18 and they can't go 20 minutes. So I have them go outside and hit a bait. I swear to God.
And I
You
you
know?
know, it's not an old man thing. 'Cause I'm 30, and I
Yeah.
know it's like this. It's insane. It literally
Yeah.
is just. It's just they just took cigarettes, took it out, and inserted vape for like this new generation.
Yeah.
I think it's all marketing. It's like, oh, let's get this new fancy electronic-esque device that's
Yeah.
gonna really appeal to young kids
Yeah.
now, and they're gonna be hooked on it.
It's like shiny objects to a crow. It could be poison. It's shiny. They're going to chase it down.
Yeah,
It's bad for you.
What really frustrates me too is like I don't know if you're old enough for this, but like when you were a kid, were cigarettes? Was it obvious that cigarettes were bad for you, or was it still
It
like
was just the opposite. It was glorified.
yeah,
I mean, there was the Marlboro Man. Charlie Conley, a very well-known Giants quarterback, was the first Marlboro Man.
Yeah.
I can remember people that are watching. I don't know if you guys would know Steve McQueen. Well, my days that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like who's the biggest star now out there? Like Tom Cruise. Not even Tom Cruise. Who's the most? The Rock.
Rock, yeah.
That was Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
I remember Steve McQueen's like, I smoke. Chesterfield said, "You want a smooth cigarette?" You know. have a Chesterfield.
So he's selling it to the generation.
And let's go fast forward 30 years. The man died of lung cancer at 50 years old. Steve McQueen. 49 to be technical. Stomach cancer, lung cancer.
And the point I was going to make about that is like with you guys, you kids, you didn't have the advantage of knowing this shit is terrible for you.
It was cool. It was
These kids now
know it.
They know it. They know it's terrible. Like, we know any smoke inhalation is not good. I don't care.
And
if
they're like,
cigarettes,
well, I'm not smoking
pot,
cigarettes. I'm
vapes.
smoking vapes. I think vapes are going to be worse.
Well, it's water vapor, right?
Yeah,
That's what it is.
but it's still got nicotine. You're getting the nicotine. It's still going to have the. I don't think it really doesn't create tar.
I believe the only thing that should be going in your lungs is oxygen.
Air.
Is air,
Yeah,
yes. I don't think you need anything else in your lungs
yeah.
besides those two things.
Yeah, that's about it.
So yeah, it's unfortunate. But anyways, let's go ahead and rewind, turn the clock back.
Okay, go.
So you were born. I'm not going to go into specific details, but you were born here.
June 13th, 1962.
1962, yeah.
To Margaret Marie Conway
Events detail.
and Donald James, not worth a shit as a dad.
My grandfather, yeah. Well, so tell me what you do remember about him. Not obviously certain things left out, but he served, right?
Yes, he did.
So he's which branch was?
He was in the Air Force.
In
Korea.
Yeah. In Korea. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Which you, I don't know how I'm gonna phrase this. Is there any like good things, like things you could say about your dad?
My dad had a stronger work ethic than me.
Yeah.
My dad was a machine.
No shit. Okay.
He was considered the man.
That's hard for me to imagine because
he really was, Joe.
When I view hard work in my mind, you're what comes.
I think I got it from my grandmother and my dad. I mean, you see these people working.
Well,
I can't say I can't say that. And I didn't really get to know my dad. I can't really say I really knew him until I was like 23 and I started at Smith Corona.
Yeah.
He had nothing to do with us.
Yeah. Because, well, I won't go into detail, but rocky childhood. You left home at the age of 13.
Well, I didn't leave. I got
we don't got to go into details.
Yep.
But so essentially, you were on your own from a very
16.
young age.
16.
Yeah.
Yep.
So take me back to you're 16 years old. This is what 1970.
I was 1978.
1778.
Yep.
So what are you doing in 78? You're 16 years old. What are you doing?
Oh my God.
You're here in New York.
Yep,
right?
I'm still up here.
Yep.
Well, I gotta back up a little bit. When I was in group home, closed detention centers, my mom, my sisters moved out with our family in Oklahoma.
Yeah, so that's
how I come out.
Yeah, just for reference, like the majority of your side of the family lives in Oklahoma, not here in New York. Right.
And now my dad's side is in Auburn, New York.
Okay, yeah. So when exactly did like my aunts and Bud, my uncle, when did they go down to Oklahoma?
They were in there probably when I was like 14.
So they went down there early.
Well, Buddy didn't go. He went to the service, and he went there
right,
afterwards.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to coordinate this all.
He joined
properly.
the army. Yep.
So yeah, Bud, my uncle, your brother, right? You guys have some stories, right?
Boy.
Right.
I wish that man was alive. If you could just dissect his life, you think I was I'm a worker. Oh my God.
So because he, I'll just touch on it, but he passed away.
Yeah.
At was it like what 50?
He was
something?
50.
50. Yeah.
49. Just because
tragically he's murdered.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Yeah. And down in Tulsa.
Yeah. In a robbery.
Yeah, in a robbery scenario. Yeah, which is really just unfortunate because I only had to meet him like a handful of times, but he definitely left an impression.
Memory, I'm telling you, you didn't have to meet him.
We're jumping ahead, but because I remember when I was like 10 when he came up that one time. Yeah. I just remember. First thing I remember, the guy had like just bare paws and hands, just absolutely, just huge hands, right? And I remember me and the neighborhood kids were playing dodgeball,
which was a mistake.
And he had it was like one of those. It was like it wasn't a regular dodge. It was a small like basketball, like that big.
I was like, you kids, you don't know what you're doing to yourself.
Yeah,
run.
Yeah. Because like you always said, your brother was like an athletic freak growing up, right?
Not to go off beaten path. This is the thing where if my brother had the opportunities, I have no doubt he could have been in the Major League Baseball. He could have played in the NFL.
Yeah.
The guy was just a freak athlete.
He was about 6 foot and probably
he was 6 foot. At 13, he had his size. He was just
what was his walking around weight, you would say?
When he was a teenager, probably 180. Yeah. But he was just a tank.
Just strong.
And he never had to lift a weight. He would look at a weight and just grow. He was just a freak.
Yeah.
Yeah. And incredibly strong.
And you were half brothers?
We're full
We're
brothers.
full brothers, right? Yeah.
Oh no, technically I can't say that. No, we're not.
Yeah, because you're saying
I
you're
forgot, we don't have the same
100%.
dad.
Yeah, different dad. Yeah. So
That totally lost me. I don't even
Yeah.
think about that.
yeah. All right, so
Yeah.
let's get back to the topic.
Yep.
So we're talking about 1978. You're 16 years old.
Yep.
What are you doing?
I'm getting out. I get out. I get a job on like a farm sawmill.
Yeah.
It came with apartment over the like a garage. Gave me access to a pickup truck to drive around. And I would do two brothers. One had a farm, the other had a sawmill.
Yep.
And I was working.
Is this where you met that guy you're telling me about who like you kind of viewed him as like kind of like a father figure?
Yeah, Bo Gleason.
Bo Gleason.
The
that's
great
right, yeah.
Bo Grant Gleason. And his brother Rick Gleason, or Richard.
Yep.
Dick. Or that is, I like to think, I got my work ethic from my grandmother first, but
Right.
Grant Gleason, I would consider my
Role model.
pseudo dad.
Yeah.
I really do think so. He taught me the things that you need to know. And you know what he done at me the other day? I hope in some small way I'm doing that for these two young men named Anthony and Mamari I'm working with now.
Yeah.
I hope I'm setting that example.
Yeah.
'Cause I would watch those guys work and I'm like, that's how you're supposed to
Yeah.
work.
Well, I mean,
You know?
you've instilled that in me from a
You know?
young age,
Yeah.
right? And I've always told myself that, like, you know, if you're working for pennies on the dollar,
Yeah.
just do your
Do what
best,
you can
right?
do,
Yeah, because
you
you
know?
might as well. You're there.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you what, if you get older, it sounds these kids they almost want to swat me. Working is a privilege. It truly is.
Yeah.
If you know what work does to you, it's your shrink. It's your
Oh, yeah.
It's your priest.
Yeah.
It's your life coach. It's your cheerleader. It brings
Yeah.
everything for you.
Yeah.
It heals illness. It brings your self-esteem up. It builds your body. It gives you that rush of adrenaline that makes you I am invincible.
Yeah.
You know?
And I was just going to say, like, I every time I think I want to break from work and I have, like, a lengthy break, like a week or something, I find myself so board and lacking
And
some kind of
physically
structure.
it does something to
Yeah.
your body.
Yeah.
You know?
So I always, and this would be my advice to young people, and I consider myself still young, but it's
Yeah,
like, you know,
definitely are.
don't view work as this, like, just
Something you got to do. It's a privilege. It's
even,
a tool.
even if you're not
Yeah.
like in love with work like that, at the very least, it is something just physical you can do with your time,
Yeah.
and it's something to put your mind into, and it teaches you structure, right?
Yeah.
Because life is not about just sitting around doing nothing. Life is about doing things. Life is
Yeah.
about getting out there, right? And work, at the very least, work introduces you to people. It introduces you to physical labor. It introduces you to a lot of things. It opens the world up to you.
Well, this is what I determined a long time ago. I don't think ADHD, hyperactivity, all these goddamn initials
That
we're
didn't exist
using to
when you
make
were a kid,
excuses not to work was put on pills. You know, in our days, you know, you healed that. You went out, you worked so goddamn hard, you got tired,
You just-
and you felt calm.
Yeah.
I am almost 63. I can go 100 miles an hour, but my heart rate is
Yeah.
here. I am just so
I
at
want to
peace.
thank you for never putting me on any of that shit
Yeah,
growing
you
up.
know, they wanted to put you on. I say, I had to deal. They shoved Ritalin down me. I think that's what messed me up to make me squirrely in my young teens. They were
Yeah.
pumping that stuff in me.
Yeah,
Like,
without really knowing what the side effects were. Like,
Our generation was the guinea pigs for that shit.
I think this is a controversial topic, but I do
Yeah.
think a lot of these medications are just not
They're
good.
not good.
for
We don't need
kids.
this shit.
Yeah, I really
You're
don't
not,
think we do.
You're not helping your kids. You're giving them. You're building them crutches, and then
Yeah.
you wonder why. 8 years later, they're all doing Xanax or addicted to booze, or they're doing fentanyl and
No,
methanol
fentanyl,
and all
yeah.
this methamphetamines.
bullshit,
It's
yeah.
all because we're chemically getting our
Instead of like emotionally being available
being
to your
strong and
kids.
independent and self-reliant. How
Do you
to
think,
deal
do you
with
think that's
pressure.
one of the biggest errors of modern parents?
Yes,
that
I
they're
do.
just not engaged enough in
Yeah,
their
yeah, I
kids'
do. Yeah, I
lives.
do. And you can't blame the parents because what's our society now?
Screens,
Go, go, go,
screens,
go, yeah.
screens. Yeah.
You know, do all this, do this, do that. You know.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah, we get
The mo-
out over our skis.
The most common thing
Yeah.
I hear nowadays is that a lot of parents, they just have a screen as a babysitter for their
Yeah,
kid
that's it,
instead of
too, you
actually
know?
being
Yeah.
in their
And
kids'
it's
lives.
when you become a parent, I mean, great, you don't lose your goals, but guess what? You either got to at least your dream and your kids' interest, or if anything, throw it right at the kids and put yours in the back seat for a while.
Oh yeah,
You know?
because your
You
kid
know?
comes first.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
gotta be, you know?
I'm not a parent, but like,
Yeah.
would you say like, but we're totally going out of order here, but it's fine.
That's how our conversations go.
That's
we got
fine,
quick
yeah.
twits.
What would you say was the biggest change like overnight when you became a parent? Was it like, because my assumption, not being a parent, is that the thing would be like you go from a me mentality to a someone
my
else.
over thing. The first time I saw you was like, I got to make sure he has a better, younger childhood than I did.
Yeah, you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what was my first thing.
Tell me about that, because I remember you telling me I came out like blue.
Oh my God. Well, you were like technically late because you were supposed to be
The
born
10th, right, of June.
9th or 10th. Yep.
Yep.
And
We almost had the same
oh
birthday.
God, we could.
Yeah.
No, this is the thing that gets me. We did all. I did Lamaze classes. I done the the breathing exercises has helped me in my life. Those breathing exercises are very important. And we did all that. We do the training. We were all ready to go. We were ready to go. But
You guys did everything,
You
yeah.
decided to wrap your umbilical cord around your neck.
I said to hell with all that preparation.
And I'm planning it
Throw
out.
a screw in this.
You're already late. They were probably going to induce your mom. They were getting ready to because you were already like a couple days late. All of a sudden, your heart rate just drops, and they're like, within 5 minutes, this baby's going to be born.
Yeah. Oh wow.
And
It's
it was
not
that
nowhere.
fast. It was
Yeah.
just a whirlwind. I remember getting there and you can ask your mom. They're like, "We have to wait here." I go, "I'm not waiting nowhere."
Yeah.
You
We'll
know,
be there.
they gowned me up, and I literally saw them take that little. It wasn't even a scalpel. It looked like it almost looked like it smoked.
Yeah.
It was some kind of almost not a laser. I don't know what the hell they used. I literally watched them cut your mother open.
A cesarean.
I
right,
watched them, and I
C-section.
watched you come right out, and you were as blue as a Smurf coming out. Yeah,
Yeah.
blue as a Smurf.
Yeah.
And they did the little. They didn't do the patting. They did just a little shake thing. Did this little sucker thing on your nose, and you just whoop,
Sprung to life. Yeah.
You hit the on switch, and you were going, man. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just a crazy
Okay.
time.
So the umbilical cord got around my neck.
Yeah, just did it, and it's not that uncommon.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's
I've
not that
heard
uncommon.
that
That's
happening a
happens.
lot.
That happens a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah, but that's the running joke, you know. Hell, that was like we had just gone by my birthday. Hell, we could have done this yesterday, right on my birthday, you know, or
Oh, I know,
or
yeah,
3 days
well,
earlier. What the shit?
Just
we were
for
waiting.
reference, my mother and my grandmother had the same birthday.
Yeah, we almost
So
pulled
we
it off.
almost did that
Yeah, it was
again, which would have been
crazy
really
cool.
cool.
Wouldn't
We
that
were
be
close.
cool? That's
Hey,
what it was.
maybe I'll have a kiss and day. We'll,
Yeah,
we'll
isn't that
sync
just
it up.
crazy though? It's so
Yeah.
weird.
What time of year would I have to conceive for it to be a June kid? It'd be like 9 months. It'd be like
Just about, yeah.
September. It'd be like September.
Yeah,
I
just
think,
about,
yeah.
yeah.
So if I ever do that, I'll try to do that.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can get it to work.
You know, the weird thing, I was late too, though. I was late.
Yeah.
Yep. I was almost a month, and they didn't do all
Really?
that shit in my. Yeah.
So you were due in May.
Yeah, I was supposed to be like a Taurus. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, I was too. Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't know. I'm sure they induced, but I don't think they jumped into it so nonchalantly as they. Even at your time, it was a lot easier. I think
Right.
they were a lot more hands off on that.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so let's go back. So you said you were working on that farm at the age
Yep.
of 17, 18, right? So what's after that?
Yeah. Now I gotta do some math. I gotta
yeah.
think
No, yeah,
back.
take your time.
I worked there. Well, I worked there at least a year and a half because I bought a 1968 GTO
Oh, nice.
working
nice.
there, and I
Is
might,
that the one where?
might as well get it off my chest. It's
Yeah.
bugs that drives me crazy still. A year and a half paying for this beautiful two-tone blue 1968 GTO. If your generation, look up GTO
It's a
Pontiac.
beautiful vehicle.
Oh my
Yeah.
God!
Did you say the color?
It was a gunmetal blue
Yeah.
base.
Yep.
And if anybody here that knows, I would like you to look up Starsky and Hutch Gran Torino car.
Yep.
Now the colors are different, but it had that lightning strike thing. It kind of went down. It started fat and it came down to the nose of your fender. It was midnight. It was that gun blue and then like almost a sky blue.
Yeah.
And the hood scoop had two hood scoops on the front. They were the sky blue. It was a sweet car. Flared fenders on the back. Your Uncle Bud put 50. You guys want 50 tire rim. You had big fat tires in the back, narrow tires in the front. We had a suspension on it. It was really good.
Yep.
It was a great car and had it on the road for maybe a month and totaled it.
So what happened?
We were going right along there, not even really racing with a Buick Electra 255, which was a land yacht, a giant car. And we made contact. And that's all it takes that when you're going fast. You know, next thing you know, you're hitting a tree at a sideways angle.
Where are you? You're on a back
We're
road?
Hartford, New York.
Hartford, New York. So
Yeah, on the straightaway.
straight away.
It's
Yeah.
supposed to be a straightaway.
Were you winning?
Straightaway right into the field.
Were you winning at least?
Yeah, well, it was kind of nick and neck. But the car was still, and it had so much more power.
Yours
you
did
know?
or the
Oh, no, that
Buick?
Buick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a monster
Yeah.
car.
So what happens?
We wrecked
you guys,
the car. We just get offside enough where it put the passenger's door to the stick shift.
Oh my
almost to the
goodness.
stick shift. You know?
Okay.
Yep.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Just hitting each other.
Yeah, just
all it took.
no. You get off and you come off, and you ain't got to slide hard. You can hit a little tiny. You didn't get a sampling. It don't take much. To
Yeah, and
freaking,
that's- wow,
and,
how-
and just for reference, a 1968 does not have a frame. It has a unibody.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that when you hit it from the side, it just kind of like folded in.
How fast were you going? You think?
I don't think we were probably going 40.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yes, you didn't really.
By the
get
time
going
we
yet.
slowed down.
Yeah.
Well, bad enough for it. I sheared off the blinker with my knee, hurt my knee bad.
Yeah.
And I really thought I bent the steering wheel, but I don't
Okay.
think it did. This felt like it did, yeah. But it wasn't.
Were you okay though?
Oh yeah, I was.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't okay because I was traumatized.
Oh yeah.
And then
so-
I woke up the next day, get the cars at the end of the driveway. I'm thinking, no, the car looks fine. I'm walking. I you suspend logical thinking. I go, it's fine. Get to the other side. I'm like, that's not fine.
It's not fine. It's,
It's
wrecked.
dead.
It's done.
Yeah, it's dead.
It's over.
And then within,
Do you remember how much you spent for it back then?
I probably spent $1,500, which was a lot of fucking money. You're talking.
I'll have to look up like
Yeah.
one of those inflation calculators.
Yeah.
So like
That was a lot of
so
money
this
back
was
then.
you're talking late 70s.
Yeah.
So right.
It was like a 12-year-old car by this point.
Okay.
Almost 12.
Yeah. How many miles? You remember when you got
You
it?
know, you think I don't think you even measured odometers and stuff like that. But it's
Oh,
been
okay,
worked
yeah.
out. My boss was that Bo Grant Gleason, one of the best men I ever met in my life.
Yep.
Was a mechanical genius. He did that because he knew. I think
He respected
I
you.
think he really loved me.
Yeah, he
I
saw-
think
he saw a lot in you.
Can't remember in those days, families knew each other.
Yeah.
You know, we lived 3.5 miles away.
We say
And-
society is a lot more like you knew your neighbor.
Yeah,
You could depend on them.
Yeah,
for things,
and then you didn't have to read their minds either.
where now it
Yeah.
feels like we're all like very
He gets like
disconnected.
he goes, Cam. He said, you know, I'm 16, 17. It pushed me to 17, 18.
So he was
didn't have
like
a
he
car.
was in his 60s then.
No, I bet he was 55,
Yeah.
and you couldn't
he was
keep
the
up with
older
this
guy,
fucker.
you
You
were
couldn't
the young
keep up. He
kid.
was me then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his brother was even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just
cheer-
workers.
Cheers
right?
to the.
And you know the
Gleason
thing is,
brothers.
I seen Richard's wife Letha a month ago to find out that Grant died a year ago.
That-
You know?
that's
Yeah,
sad.
and I went on Facebook. I did.
You did.
I was like, I heard today that the death of one of the greatest men I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah, and he got to that point where I don't want to get. He's like almost 90, living with his daughter, and this big strong. I mean, he was built like me, but the guy was just a freak.
Well, you've always alluded to that. You've always told me you're like, I will not be that guy wasting away in a hospital. I will not.
No, and
I'm
it
not
happened
going
to
like
Bo.
that. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
what a name, Bo.
Yeah.
You know, isn't that crazy? I wish anybody could meet the guy, and you could not get the guy mad.
No.
I mean, not to mention, he had 8 kids of his own.
Holy
8
shit.
kids, 1 son, and 7 daughters. Imagine raising 7 daughters.
Yeah.
And he did it all.
Good
Yeah.
Lord.
And his wife, Franny, love you too, Franny.
Yeah.
One of the best bakers. I took that job because that woman's cooking it was an addiction. It was an
Well, that has
addiction.
something to do with you and Mom getting along so well because Mom's a big baker. Yeah. Maybe there's like.
I wish you
connection
could have seen this lady's freaking cinnamon roll. This lady could have been a professional.
there. Yeah, like a Betty
Oh
Crocker.
my God. Everybody was like that back then, though. Big old fat country woman. I'm saying this as a compliment. Could cook. I mean, she would throw a meal together you couldn't freaking believe.
Yeah.
You know?
Just
And
like
we'd work-
witchcraft almost.
And this is Bo. You would start if you could see your hand in front of yourself. He started that mill up, and you worked till lunch. There's
Farm
none of
life,
this
yeah.
fancy. Oh, let's take a break 2 hours in.
No.
No, you worked till it's time to get lunch. And then this woman would feed you.
Just
Had a
fuel
great
you
big
up,
giant
yeah.
pot of coffee and those big old fancy coffee pots, those big black and blue metal on an open fire.
Yeah.
Pour that, might have been chemical analysis, come down to cocaine because you went back out. You couldn't stop working.
Yeah.
You couldn't slow down. And he
Yeah.
would work. If you were there in the summer, you worked till you couldn't see your hand in front of your face again.
Yeah.
So we put in some hours.
No
It
shit.
taught me a work ethic. I watched this
shit.
guy, and he had been through cancer already once.
Oh, so
He had lost a
when you met him,
testicle.
yeah.
He had testicular cancer when he was like 50.
No kidding.
Never stopped. He did his surgery. He had cancer later after that when he was like 70.
So he was just a tough guy.
They were
Yeah.
just
tougher people back then. Yeah,
Tougher people.
different
Yeah.
generation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And who knows what his childhood was probably like.
And his son and me, we were really tight, and I haven't talked to that guy in 30 years. Grant Jr.
Well, that kind of reminds me of this one thing you've always told me. How like we first had this conversation when I was like in my mid-20s, and I
Yeah.
was like, hey, I haven't talked to like my immediate friends in a
Yeah.
long time, and
You
you
think,
kind of went,
man, bros for the next 100 years.
and then you find yourself the metaphor you used was like you're kind of like
Spheres. We're in spheres, yeah.
where you're kind of
Yeah.
you're close to each other, and then you kind of
Yeah.
just work your way away
Well,
from each other.
everybody is in our own individual spheres.
Right.
Well, then you interlink. You got guys that your spheres are like, wow, this is going to be great for everyone else. And
He's over there.
what's over there? And you're doing this, and
Yeah,
then
you guys doing your own
all
thing, yeah.
all these friends were all floating around spheres. And if you're lucky, like my friend Joe Nicholas, shout out, best man I ever met. I
Guy
love Joe
named after
Nicholas.
your best friend,
Who's Joseph is named after. It's like last summer at that Pumpkin Fest. We hadn't talked in 15 years. It's just like we had coffee that morning. It's just
Yep.
the way it was.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like you guys
And
have never
you're
stopped
gonna have
hanging
that
out.
now. You're running into that now.
Oh, yeah.
Matt's doing his thing.
Yep.
Tristan got married.
Yep.
Hey, that sounds like a song.
Congrats,
Tristan
Tristan,
got
by the
married. Yeah, in the summer of '69. Anyways, that's life. That is
Yeah.
life. And then when things come back together, it makes you
It's
just
like you never-
appreciate that little shit.
Yeah.
But that's how life
Well, this
works.
comes at a very cool moment right now because I'm literally like 2 weeks from my 30th birthday, which is gonna be nice because like
Yeah.
it's not like we don't hang out all the time anymore, but it's gonna be nice to have all of us back together
Yeah.
again, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good segue into like tell me about like your core friends when you were like young, right? A young man.
Okay, now this is gonna sound really weird.
And also once you get past that, go into detail how you met Joe Nicholas and all that, right?
See, now this is gonna sound really weird. I like to think myself an outward person, but
Yeah,
I can count my friends
on one hand.
on 3 fingers.
Yeah.
I don't hang out with people.
Well, I think there's something to that though, because like I've talked to people about this, how they're like, they're like, oh, in my early 20s, I had all these friends, right,
Yeah.
tons of people, but then you realize a lot of them like there's no
Yeah.
connection there, right?
A
But
lot
you
of them are
have that-
work related
yeah,
or something like
or
that.
just
You have some kind
bar
of
related or something.
Yeah, something out that brings you together.
But then you have those few
and
people
if you're
that
lucky,
you
even
really
if it
sync
happens
with.
like that crosses over into
Something
you can't. Friendship is either there or it ain't. It's
Yeah.
just it's organic.
Yeah.
And that was me and Joe Nicholas.
And what does that mean to you? Like those people those are like your ride or die friends.
Yeah, those are the ones where
It's meant everything.
it's like
right?
you said, when the shit hits the fan,
Those are the ones
but
you can turn to.
yeah, and if they're not physically there, you just know you could call. Like my friend Guy.
Yep.
You know?
Which now, right?
Yeah.
It's
Like I haven't talked to him like a month, but he'll call me up like sometimes, and we can just talk for an hour like it's nothing.
So tell me about some of your best friends when you were a young man and like the fun experiences you guys had together.
Of course, it's going to always come back to Joe Nicholas. But you want to go back farther, my friends?
Doesn't matter. You can talk about your party days or your athletics or anything like that. Anything you want to talk
God.
about. Anything you want to talk about. Let's focus on Joe. How'd you meet Joe?
Okay, me and Joe, I was employed at Smith Corona Corporation.
Yeah.
Was our
Which is a big part in your life.
and yeah,
Huge
I
part.
put 10 years into this factory. If it had not closed, I'd be working there now.
Yeah,
I
you'd
just
probably be,
stayed.
like,
I loved it. I loved
Ticking
working
towards
there.
retirement.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I'm working there. Joe's off doing his thing. Joe is larger than life. I mean, physically larger than life, and just he's gregarious.
What's his background? He was a wrestler. Correct?
He's a Syrian. He's from
Syrian.
Syria.
Yep.
I mean, his family came over from Syria.
No kidding.
So
was
imagine
he
that.
a second generation?
Yeah.
Yeah, so his parents immigrated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So imagine that. That was hard. That wasn't easy on him. And when he helped me, he grew up in Ithaca, where you got that melting pot, that European feel.
Yeah.
So he had that going there.
Yep.
Went to Ithaca High School, 3-time state champion.
Yep.
I heard an Olympic alternate say that my friend Joe Nicholas was the best lower body wrestler he ever met.
Yeah.
My friend Joe Nicholas could have wrestled at Iowa, Oklahoma State. Teams wanted him,
Yeah.
And he being young, he gets out of high school in Ithaca, New York, goes to California, goes out and makes all the dumb mistakes we all do,
Yeah.
Just ends up doesn't go to college, ends
Yeah.
up going to work, blah, 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 comes back here, gets married, gets a divorce, and that's when I meet him at Smith Corona.
How old is he and how old are
Joe,
you?
okay,
He's a little older than you,
Joe's
right?
4 years older than me.
Okay.
Yep.
So he's like 67 now.
Yeah,
so
he's like 67.
How old were you at this point?
Okay, I was 1986.
So you were
24.
24. So
Oh, 85. No, we met before we both started as a temp service at the Houston Center at Corona.
Okay.
My official Corona date is 86, but I was there like a year and a half just loading trucks on a dock. We met on the dock,
Yeah.
me and Joe.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So-
But Joe had this attitude, the thing I hated the most. Big guys that think they're unbeatable.
Yeah.
And I have always been the
Tough guy
little
attitude.
guy that you got to convince me of that.
Yeah.
And he's telling these other guys off, and he said to me, I go, yeah, you can save that shit with me, dude. Don't be frickin'.
Yeah.
When I made him laugh, I go, don't condescend to me or something like that. And he goes,
Just real
condescend
quick.
to me.
Just we'll get into this more later, but like
Yeah.
my dad is the typical, what we call it, like, don't judge a book by its character
Yeah.
because you're
Cover, yeah.
we're physically we're small people,
Yeah.
but you can take care of yourself.
Yeah,
we'll
you're
get into
kidding,
that. We'll get
yeah.
into that. But so go ahead and tell me about Joe some more, how you met him.
So he's like, well, I can do it after work, and I don't think he realized. I go, okay, asshole.
Yeah.
I was right there waiting for him.
outside of work.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
knew I was gonna get my eye. I go, listen, you
So
little.
what's his physical stature like? He's about
Joe's
he's
5'8".
He's 5'8".
Then he weighed about 200 pounds.
He's a
He
wrestler.
had 23-inch, one of the strongest. I mean, this little
A
man,
monster.
this man could freaking deadlift 600 pounds.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He could bench like 350
But
pounds, nothing.
give yourself credit at this point. You were no slouch yourself.
No.
You're lean, but you were in
I was
really
about
good shape.
155 pounds. But those years of doing all that labor, I didn't have to lift weights back
You were
then.
lean
I
and
was-
toned,
Oh,
right?
I was just.
Yeah.
I would come. This is gonna sound bad to me. I'd get up one day off every 4 months. Grant Squeak, who was Bo Gleason's son, who was one strapping little squirrely guy like me, and his
Yep.
cousin, we'd get that day off. We'd come to town. We'd hit the bars.
And
We'd get drunk,
inevitably
and
you'd
these
do a
city
fight.
boys would make the mistake of effing with us. And I don't care, the three of us, we could clean out a bar. I'm
Yeah.
not kidding. I got proof. I can introduce people. The Thorpes over in Dryden that would tell you,
Thorpes, yeah.
this little boy picked up a man that was a mountain, and I slammed that son of a bitch. And guess what? They didn't screw with us no more. They let us alone. Of course, we got arrested.
So let's roll back to the
Yeah.
Joe story, though.
Yeah, well, say
So-
then he goes, well, I don't want to fight him. I don't know.
So
Listen.
you offered to fight him after
Hell
work,
yeah, man.
and he kind of
Oh, but I just think
recanted
I think
statement.
he just like, I like this guy.
He
Him
respected
else would
your-
just back down. I go, I'm not taking you. Maybe these other assholes will take your shit.
But I'm not
I don't
gonna,
think you're
yeah.
all that. You know, I don't care.
I think we share that
Yeah, I
mentality. It's
don't
like
give a
I'd
shit.
rather get my ass
Yeah,
kicked
yeah, you know.
than let you walk
I was
over
like,
me.
maybe his, but I gotta find out.
Yeah.
I knew what I had.
Yeah,
I know. I don't care. I know if I punched you, you stayed punched.
yeah. So that happened, and well, you guys just what happened?
And
right
ever
after
since
this?
it was like a
You just
light
clicked.
flip.
Yeah.
We ended up getting a sausage sandwich at freaking Pudgy's that very day. And
Oh, he was
we-
open back then?
Oh yeah. Oh hell
okay,
yes,
no
man.
shit, no shit.
And we were it just happened.
Yeah,
We were friends.
No shit.
And I had his. No, he didn't have to have his back, but I always did.
yeah.
He didn't need nobody to have his back.
What's your favorite Joe Nicholas story? If you had to pick one.
He was a bouncer at. I don't know what it is now. I can't remember what the bar was.
Well, the
but
town one.
Whiffletree. I think it was Whiffletree.
Where was
now
that
it's the one that's right across from where the tavern used to be, that nightclub, brother.
Song Lounge?
Is that what it is
Down
now?
in the Main Street?
Yeah.
Okay, so down there,
Okay,
okay,
it was,
yep.
yeah, it was a big bar there, and he was a bouncer.
Yep.
So he was this little 5'8", maybe about 190 pounds,
Dense
200
dude.
pounds, yeah.
Dense guy,
And,
yeah.
Literally 350-pound black guy that had just been making a fool of himself.
This is 80s?
This is, I'm gonna say, okay. Corona closed in '92. So this is about 90.
Okay, so 1990,
Yeah.
okay.
He
Yep.
had a kid and he was just doing this side job.
Okay, yep.
And Joe does not. I mean, he puts in the time to stay in shape.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the technique.
And he said he has
worked
impressive lift numbers.
Oh my God! But he had skills too. The guy.
Well, he was
I mean,
built for heavy lifting. He's
oh yeah.
shorter and condensed.
But he had that such a great technique. I would try to wrestle with the guy, and I mean,
Yeah,
he take pity on me. you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But this big black guy, and he straight goes, "Come, you got to come with me. You got to come with me.
So
You got to come
this,
with
guy,
me."
this guy's being belligerent.
Oh yeah, just drunk. Joe goes, "You have to leave him, guy." And the guy made the mistake of swinging at my friend Joe. Anybody here that's familiar with a fireman's carry in wrestling? My friend Joe did a fireman's carry on this guy,
Tipped
picked
him.
him up,
And
and
slammed
body slammed, and the guy went, "Oh," like that.
Yeah.
And Joe literally dragged him out of that fucking bar to the sidewalk.
No shit.
You got him mad. It was a
you were
mistake,
screwed,
you know.
yeah.
But not many people made that mistake. But he's the friendliest, most intelligent man I've ever met. And I'm
Yeah.
not making that up. He is a
So
genius.
he's a lot more of just like a physical specimen. He's also
He's
just
a genius.
Yeah.
A genius.
Yeah.
With
So
life experience up to yin yang.
Would you say him and Bud related in that way where you feel like it's wasted potential?
I always wondered. No, you see, I mean, they had. I don't. You know, the thing is, it was diverted potential because it was
Yeah.
never wasted. It didn't go where it was supposed to, but that transfers.
We were talking about Bud again. Can you tell the story of how Bud ended up in the service? Right, you told this story. So this is high school.
Yeah. No, my brother was in probably 11th grade.
Yeah, and you're like what?
No, I mean, he must have been young because I'm like, okay, I got sent away when I was in 7th.
Yeah.
So, and I went, so he'd gone. You know why that didn't happen to me? Because my brother went in the service the year before. I didn't have him there to. He
So
kept
you
me
be
in
your-
check.
your role
He,
model, yeah,
you know,
your guidance.
let me throw this in here quick. My brother was forced to be a dad
Yeah.
at a young age. Our dad just split literally on Christmas Eve. I'm not making this shit up.
Yeah.
And at a young age, my brother just assumed that. I
Role.
mentioned that at his funeral, where
Yeah.
he helped raise us. He
Yeah.
really did. He had such responsibility at a young age.
Yeah.
Now I got distracted.
Yeah,
So,
the-
anyways, I gotta admit, I was kind of a juvenile delinquent. I didn't say I didn't have it coming,
Yeah.
but the principal took hold of me. Now, let me just say, this principal was 6'5", at least 300 pounds. But he was
So
a
you're
bully.
walking through the hall.
Oh, yeah, and I was doing something wrong, and he grabbed my hair.
And you had long hair.
I had
Claire.
long ass hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. And-
I'll see if I can find the picture, but there's a picture of you where you're I think you're holding me and your hair is like down
Yeah.
to your belt buckle.
But then the
Crazy
thing is,
long hair.
and my brother,
Saw this.
he looked.
saw the principal.
No, he didn't have to see it
snag-
all. He
No.
just heard about it.
Yeah.
And by the end of that day,
Oh, so it wasn't at the same time. He heard that.
it was like
happens.
probably an hour and a half later.
Yeah.
My brother knocked literally knocked
Laid him
him out.
Yeah.
Knocked him the hell out.
Yeah.
And in those days, he got arrested and all that, but they would give young dudes, they didn't want to ruin their lives. You say you could deal with the court system or you could join the service. And my brother joined the army.
Isn't that cool though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
And my
almost think
brother
that's
did-
I think it's a better system,
Yeah,
honestly.
my brother did 2 tours. My brother was in Korea. My brother trained chemical warfare. My brother was an athlete in the army.
No,
that
so
set
he
him
was
off.
Army, right?
Army,
He
yeah.
was Army, yeah.
Yep,
Did
yep.
he? How many tours did he
2.
do?
He did 2.
tours.
He
So
was
he's
in 6
for
years.
6 years,
Yep,
yeah.
Yep.
Yep, okay.
So I went around, lived in Korea for a year and a
Isn't that cool?
half.
Isn't that
You know,
cool?
met his first wife that lasted a whole 10 minutes. You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good lord.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So when did that system stop happening where you had that option?
Maybe they still do it now. I don't
haven't
think
heard
they
of
do.
that, yeah.
I don't think they do.
I almost think that's a
It
better
might have been
system.
isolated. It might have been set through communities.
You think someone maybe helped
We
him
lived
out
in
with
Marathon,
that?
New York. This is if that had been a big city, they'd have probably just thrown him in prison and
Yeah,
let him rot.
but maybe someone.
But this is a smaller
in the
little
system
town.
helped him
Yeah,
out.
but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool though.
And I think almost people at school, the school board probably said, "Yeah, that fucking guy's a dick. He was
Yeah.
just a tyrant principal, a tyrant."
Yeah. Just
You
a
know, he
dickhead,
didn't have
yeah.
no. But that's how it was back then.
Yeah.
You know, this is
So-
back in the era where they could literally pick up a and slam you in the head or hit you with a yardstick, and they didn't do shit to him. You know.
So we've been talking about other people's athletic abilities, right? I want to talk about yours though. So I want you to tell me one of my favorite stories about you that you've told me growing up was your not one, but tell the first one though. Your first bicycle trip
To Canada.
to Canada.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, we got to go back to it all came down to just it was just fate. I don't know why I never even knew what a Tour de France was.
Yeah.
But what caught my attention is this American high on the leaderboard, which no American had even been in the bottom tier of this Tour de France, which is, to explain, is a race across Europe about 2,000 miles in about 20 days.
Good lord.
And then
On a
you do,
bicycle,
not
yeah.
only are you just doing time trials distance every day, you had to do time trials.
Yeah.
You had to and it's been going on for 100. Europe cycling is so far ahead. It is like NASCAR over here. It is a big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah, okay.
But we had American Greg Lalonde.
What year is this? You think?
This is
80s,
80.
90s?
It must have been, I'm going to say 86, 85, 86.
So
I went
you're
out in 87.
23.
Yep.
Sounds about
But I
right.
see this,
Yep.
and it turned my light. I go, wow! Look at these bikes. These guys are going thousands of miles on a bicycle. How
So
do
you're
they do this?
inspired, yeah.
Oh God! I'm seeing me and them.
Yeah.
These guys are built like me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I've always
Okay.
I always had this freaky drive.
So
you know?
where did the idea of doing this?
We're at
advance,
work.
right?
We're at work, and my friend
You and
Jim
your friend.
Dempsey, Kenny Hamilton, and Billy Churchill. Hey, Well, there's some ride something. Well, we didn't think of Canada right off. We were, hey,
You did like
let's go
test
to.
runs.
I get on. I didn't have online. I mean, sure it was there, but
Yeah.
I just started thinking about bikes. I find this Panasonic, which was a pretty good name back then, and I spent $400 back then, which was a lot of money for a bicycle.
Well, you just
It-
recently spent 500 on a bike nowadays.
yeah.
So that thing was
Yeah.
probably more.
Oh, it was
relation.
it was made for touring. This thing was made.
So it's probably one of those that weighs like next to nothing.
For its day, it was heavy by today's standard.
They've
It was
come a
light
long
by
way
then.
since then,
Yep,
yeah.
had a 29-inch frame. It was set up for racks in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were doing little rides.
As a
We
warm-up.
were doing a minimum 2 times a week, but we were all in our 20s.
You're at your peak,
and my
yeah.
friend Jim Dempsey, he's another little freak guy.
Yeah.
One of these freak athletes. Kenny, who was the unicorn, was. You've met Kenny.
It's
Kenny
funny
was.
you had a friend named Kenny. I have a friend
Kenny
named
was 6 foot, 225 pounds. This is not the person that should
be
be
a
riding
cyclist.
bicycles.
Yeah, your typical bicyclist is very lean and
He was
long.
like Jonathan Livingston Seagull, which is, you ever read Jonathan Livingston Seagull? It was a seagull that wanted to be a falcon. You know?
Yeah.
Kenny wanted to be a falcon, you know?
Yeah.
But Tim and Bill, well, it was going to be the 3 of us. Bill wasn't going to do it. So Kenny, Jim, and me were going to do it. Our vacation would go. So then we had almost a year to. Well, we're going to go to Canada.
So you planned this a long
Yeah,
time ahead.
we didn't even pick a direction in Canada. Just we're going to hit the Canadian border.
Yeah.
That's all we were aiming for.
Yeah.
You know.
So then, what time of year is it when you finally go?
It was.
Like
It
spring
was.
or summer?
It was our by vacation, so it was July.
July. So you're in the
Yep.
middle of the summer.
And I wish I'd have planned it for April. 'Cause
Yeah, it's hot. Yeah.
And the thing, that trip, I don't even call it a trip. I call it a learning process because I did everything wrong.
Yep.
I carried too much weight. I carried too much clothing. I took jeans I ended up throwing away. I was losing
Dead
weight
on
as I was going.
July.
I carried tools. I carried weight. I carried all this weight.
when you leave here for that, what do you have on? You have a backpack?
No, I didn't want to use a backpack.
So what do you
I
have?
wanted the bike to work. I had a pack on my front of my bike, and I had 2 saddlebags
On the
on the
back.
back tires.
Okay.
I didn't want nothing on my body.
How much weight do you think you left?
Way
with?
too much.
Way too much.
Probably, I'm going to guess, maybe 40. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's 25 pounds more than you need to carry. You got to go light.
And when you're going, where did you end up in Canada?
I ended up about 70 miles short of Ottawa.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna say Ottawa then.
Yep.
So, how far is it from
223
Portland to Ottawa?
miles.
You already know. 227, but
Okay,
you're
there
right
you
on the
go.
money.
Yeah.
So you essentially rode 200 plus miles.
Yeah, but we did it over.
Yes, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like in.
Well, see,
complete-
okay.
But that's just one
Okay,
way.
I have to go back. Okay,
go
like
ahead.
I said, I was learning. Okay, here we go. We're getting ready to go. The weeks leading up, we got our bikes already. Overpacked the shit. I learned in hindsight. The night before we're supposed to leave, my friend goes, "Yeah, I was talking to Kenny, and Terry, this sunt of a girlfriend, who had her claws through his testicles." And I think it just came down to,
He can't.
I think he
he
just realized, no, both of them did.
Oh, so
I went by myself, Joe.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which I'm going to tell you what, do not ever do a solo ride to Canada.
Yeah.
Because
Never.
guess what? There's all these highlights, but there's lowlights, and there's no one there to share them with.
Yeah.
There's no one to share that exhilaration.
Yeah.
And that first day, I'm like, I'm by myself.
Well,
Yeah.
here's a question though, because do you think there is a certain good part to it though? Because like you're a big nature guy, and you said you've always had how you love being out in the wild by
Yeah, it was
yourself.
great. Yeah, it was
so
that
was
part I
it?
loved.
Does that equal to when you were by yourself on the bicycle ride?
Yeah, that part, the act
The
I was
pride
doing
doing
was
on your
great.
own.
I just realized, this is going to be hard to explain. You're 400 miles round trip into your
Yeah.
thing there, but hey, you're halfway through it. I'm realizing I'm getting farther and farther away from my home on this bike. All of a sudden, this
Yeah,
bike
this
seems
moment, like-
incredibly frail. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I know I'm not walking, but I'm riding this bike. If I would got this thing broke, I had to walk.
You're done.
This is
So panic
This is
kinda
no
set in,
longer.
yeah.
No, I would get there. Like this the one thing happens. The bolts that hold my rack on.
Yeah.
It can't happen. I'm just riding down the road. I'm going over a stupid little bridge with all the little holes in it, and what are
The
the
bolt
odds
goes
of that?
through.
Oh yeah, and my
Oh, my
rack
God.
drops. But 2 days before, some freaky thing I'm riding. I go, what the frick? Maybe stop. There was a rubber band about that fat. It was like this. What is this great big thing of rubber? Like,
Okay.
What the fuck? For some reason, I picked up, put it in my saddlebag. I'm not making this up.
And then later on, you needed it.
That thing breaks. That was like how many days? I hadn't even been. It was in Hewlett. I haven't even made it to Canada yet when that happened.
Yep.
I'm not freaking. I'm like, what the shit? I took that. I put the thing on there. You know, it's a toy. I wrapped that thing, and I left that on there for a month. I was so proud of
still
my
hanging
innovation.
in there?
It worked like a charm.
Wow.
I just left it there. You know,
That's really funny. So yeah, you lose the bolt,
yeah,
and
no,
you come across.
I
This
go.
thing
It couldn't have
that's
been
a
10
perfect
feet
tool.
this way or 10 feet on the other side.
Yeah,
It was
you
the
right in that
vibration
bridge.
of those bridges, those little ridges.
grates in them,
Well, they're
yeah.
made for car tires, not buggy. So you're like getting over it. What the fuck? And I hit it at pretty good speed.
Yeah.
You know.
So okay,
man.
so the first day you depart, how far did you get on the first day?
Like, well, I don't know. We
were talking about earlier, you
Look
did,
up
like, what?
Selkirk Shores.
71 miles.
Okay, I did 71 miles.
So you did 71 miles the
Yeah,
first day.
Yeah,
How are you feeling at the end of that first day? Good?
excellent.
Yeah.
I was a physical freak.
So what'd you do at the end of the day? Where'd you camp out?
This is what you do. I was still in America.
Yep.
So you're looking up. You're just looking up KOA campsites, Campgrounds of America.
Yeah.
Well, I did enough planning where I knew where they were.
Oh yeah, so you had
So
this
I
all
would
mapped
just,
out.
I wrote it right in. I stopped, got 2 cans of Chef Boyardee. I just wanted the high
remember you telling me this,
carbohydrates, Gatorade. I would just do carbs. I wanted to keep my strength up. What you do? I would just throw a tarp right over a picnic table. Have my little mat. I would just slide under the table, get in my bag, go lock my bike up, go
A
to
picnic
sleep.
table?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
I would just put a tarp on, stay dry, run like something to lay on, have my little blow up little mattress.
Were you pretty lucky with the weather in this whole trip?
Yeah. Well,
Like-
I got caught. I thought it was going to be a hurricane going up just Watertown by Lake Ontario.
Is
It turned out-
this like the second or third day?
this is
Well,
that's-
here's a better
that's
question.
the second day.
How many days did it take you to get from where we're at to your destination in Canada?
So I didn't do it like that because I got there. It took me 2 full days,
To get
and
there?
then the next morning, no, it was like 170 miles to get to the Canadian border.
Okay.
So I did the first day. So the second day, what slowed me down. It should have been a lot quicker. I didn't realize that. I didn't really know how I was going to get to Canada across the border.
Oh yeah.
I didn't plan that far ahead, you know.
Yeah.
So I end up going to a place called Wolf Island.
Wolf
So
Island.
then you take a ferry. It takes you across, and
Oh,
then you're
okay.
in Canada. Like
That's
that,
cool.
you know.
Yeah.
So then I asked the guy for information. I go, "Hey, I'm going to Ottawa, that direction.
Yeah.
Which road?" He goes, "You got to take the Queens Highway." Now, in
Highway.
retrospect, I should have said, "Hey, dude, I'm on a bicycle. What's the best way?" Because he set me up on the Queens Highway, which is like a major thoroughfare. But up there, you can't ride on the side of the road because it's 1.5 feet of sand. I'm like, I don't think this guy. I think this
I don't
was
think he
a
understood
bad
what
idea.
you're-
I'm going to get killed
Yeah.
because they have those double trucks there. And I'll tell you something else, and I'm not making this up. Something like that. So I was like, I got to get off this fucking road. You know, I could look down. You know, the parallel. You know, how highways are. There's original roads of a
So you're on the
century
shoulder
before,
of a
and then
highway.
they run their throughways. I want to go the same direction, so they just put them next to the existing road.
Yeah.
So I'm up on this. I can look over there, and I get to this bridge.
Yep.
And I'm looking down the road. It's probably 60 feet, but it's at an angle.
Okay.
And it's these boulders that are as big as this.
The big as
They
the
just
desk,
built it
yeah.
up. They built it up, you know, so you put the highway up. It's an elevated, you know, they built it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So I'm carrying a bike on this hand.
Right,
So this
right.
was my chance to get off, unless I wanted to risk my life.
Yeah.
Literally,
So what's
cars are this close to me.
so yeah, so you're
Oh,
you're
man, I would have
like
died.
close to getting
Unless
hit
I
by
wanted
cars.
to push it in that. I couldn't ride in that sand.
Yeah.
I,
Okay.
I struggled. I used more energy in that 4 miles than I did the next whole day. It
You're
was a
carrying your
struggle.
bicycle.
No, I'm trying to ride in the sand.
You realize you
I'm
can't,
looking
yeah.
to see how many of this. They have those tandem trucks. They literally, it feels like they're sucking you into the road. I knew I
Oh,
was
the-
in
the-
danger.
the wind,
the
the
pull.
power,
Yeah.
yeah.
I go, I got to get off this
I'll feel
road.
it even when I'm behind a tractor trailer on the highway where it feels like it's kind of
Try it on
pulling
a
you.
bicycle.
On a bicycle,
And I go,
yeah.
man, I'm on the wrong road. So I get down there. The road was perfect. It's the old Queens Highway, Route 6. No, that was still the Queens Highway. Because at a certain point, I had to go north on Route 16. Why I remember these, I don't know why.
No, it's cool that you
You
remember it,
yeah,
though,
I remember the route. So that night I'm camping. Now remember I'm up on the highway, right?
Yeah.
I'm camping. I'm not kidding you, this motorcycle guy. He comes in, he goes, "Are you that crazy fucker I seen on the Queens Highway?" I go,
Yeah,
I am
see.
not kidding. Because you end up in the same KO. Now you're in a provincial camp.
Yeah.
They're not called camp, they're provincial camps all
Yeah.
across Canada.
Yeah.
And cycling is much more. It's a lot more in Canada than it is down here. Back then, now I'm sure.
Yeah, so
Like now you see bike lanes. They had them up there all the time. There was no bike lanes in America.
Yeah.
Just over the border,
Yep.
And that would be paramount to, I want to say, maybe if you were in New York, you'd be in Ogdensburg.
Yeah.
But that's on the other side of this, the St. Lawrence.
Yep.
Now there's Prescott, there's Ivy, Ontario, Prescott, Ontario, and so is you're running up, you
Yeah,
know,
yep.
parallel with Lake Champlain, which would be
Are
Ogdensburg,
they called
Messina.
territories or cities?
Those are cities.
The cities,
yeah,
yeah.
cities. Well, there's Ogdensburg, New York, Messina. As you're going north, you know the top of New York State?
Yeah.
Well, it's right up here.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
right at the very top.
Yep.
But I'm in Canada now. I'm on
Yeah.
the other side of the St. I'm in Canada, and I'm going to be going, I want to turn and go this way.
Yeah, more north.
I'm
yeah,
going
straight
towards
north.
Ottawa.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
But that was that second day. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay, so you finally get to Canada.
Yep.
And
And
hang
then
out for a couple
I did.
days.
See, I'm doing this all blind action. I can't remember if this is just on the American border. No, it's just over the border. I didn't look ahead for activities.
Yeah.
I thought I could ride every goddamn day.
Yeah.
Okay, I wake up the third day. Guess what?
What?
My fucking knee is so goddamn swollen. I can't get on my bike.
Really?
Well, then, this freaky
Is it
shit.
swollen?
I had to sit for like 2 days, and I met this old couple.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember their names from Charlie, and I can't remember the way. This woman had that most angel face.
Yeah.
They're in a campsite next to me. I think that she must have sensed
Hurting.
something was wrong.
Yeah.
She comes over and brings me this food.
Really?
Invites me over to her husband, who worked at Nestles, they called it,
Yeah.
for like 50 years. They retired. So they were probably my age. I'm thinking they're old people.
Yeah.
They're probably my age.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe they were maybe 70.
So they give you some food and all
Oh
that,
my
yeah.
gosh, she fed me for like that and the next day. I
That's
could not
really
ride.
cool.
I had to stop.
Yeah.
I had to stop. Okay, the next time, the next camp, I meet a guy who rides for Peugeot Cycling.
Okay.
This man had just come west to east across Canada
The entirety
and
of
came
Canada.
back down and was
Oh,
going
my.
east. No, he went west to east. He was going east to west.
So you're
back
talking-
crossing. He was going to go to Colorado. He was headed to Colorado.
Yeah.
This guy was a professional cyclist for Peugeot.
Okay.
He goes, I go, man. He goes, yeah. I go, those hills are killing me. He goes, young man, why are you riding the hills? I
So
go,
he,
"What?"
he had the
I
routes
go,
all
look,
figured out.
you call yourself a cyclist. He goes, I call myself a professional cyclist. You don't burn your legs out on hills.
Yeah.
That's at the training for all these months. I'm looking to go to Canada. I'm riding the hill out of Ithaca thinking I'm getting in shape. Oh, all cyclists ride the hills.
You're just wearing yourself out.
Yeah, he goes,
quickly.
you don't ride the hills, you push the hills.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. He goes, you can't ride every day like that. He goes, you have to have rest days.
Yeah.
I didn't think. Remember, I'm learning on the fly. He goes,
And you're like, what, 23?
I'm 20. No, I say I'm by them. I'm 25.
25,
I'm 25.
yep, yep.
25 and 27 is when I did it.
Yep.
He goes, he's looking. He goes, what is all this? He goes, showed me his bike, quick release. You have to have tools. I had a tool box, a little tool set. They only weighed about 12 pounds. But guess what? That's 12 pounds you're dragging
carrying
down the fucking
all
road.
the way to Canada,
Yeah.
I
And he goes,
bet, yeah.
you too many clothing. He had 2 pairs of shorts, underwear, socks, one sweater that would be sweater and rain resistance, and that's all he carried for clothing. He didn't carry everything was quick release. He didn't have to have tools for all this shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You didn't have all that shit. You had to have 2 things. You had to have your little breaker arm. If you God forbid you had a flat tire, you had to get your tire apart. And you maybe carry extra tubes. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't carry all this stupid shit. I carried jeans. Why was I carrying jeans on the cycle ride for? Why did I have 6 pairs of shorts and this, like a sweater and all these shirts I didn't need? Why was I carrying all this shit?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
That's
well,
why.
yeah. It's like your
Yeah.
maiden voyage,
Yeah.
essentially.
So I literally took those jeans. Yeah, fuck you, baby. Threw them fuckers away. I trimmed down to
Shuck
like
'em.
3 pairs of shorts, some riding shorts, some shirts. I kept the raincoat thing, which I'll tell you that I needed that. That was like okay, the second I'm at Plaskite, okay, then there's Watertown,
Yep.
Hewelton. You're going north. You're
Yeah,
heading toward the
yep,
Canadian border.
yep.
Well, I get up on Lake Ontario. I wish I had. Kenny has. There's pictures where I'm standing. You would swear. You swear it was 9 o'clock at night. It was
Yeah.
10 in the morning. It was so fucking dark. There was a storm
Really?
coming. Lake Ontario. I got caught. It started coming down. I rode that out. But then all of a sudden, I'm going. Here's Lake Ontario. I'm heading up this road, Route 11,
Yep.
in New York State.
Yep.
I'm at a grade like this, and I
So you're
swear
at,
to
like,
God,
45 degrees.
I'm not even pedaling, and I'm doing 10 miles an hour.
The wind.
The fucking tailwind for me. I made myself a sail. I didn't pedal for an
You
hour.
made yourself a
That
sail.
fucking thing just, I go, holy fuck. I go, how is this possible? I'm even looking up a hill and I'm cruising up it. I'm not even pedaling.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on an electric bike. I'm just sitting back, resting. Doo-dee-doo-dee-doo.
Yeah.
Love that. That lasted for a while because it was a storm.
That's cool.
I mean,
though. I
and
never
I didn't
thought
know
about
the
how-
storms come off that lake.
Yeah, the wind can just
Because
gust you up.
that lake is
You're getting gust
navigable.
uphill.
Oh my
by the
god!
wind.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because Lake Ontario is that. I can tell you a story about me and Joe. We should have died on Lake. We took a canoe on Lake Ontario,
Yeah.
which you don't do.
Yeah.
I mean, not normal people, smart people.
Well, what happened? You got stuck in a storm?
Oh no, we got out there. You can get out there easy. This is
Yeah,
another
quick
story.
diversion. Pause the Canada strip real quick.
yeah.
Yep.
We're up there, salmon fishing. We're up there fishing.
Yep.
Well, they up there use these big giant poles. We go, well, hell, Jim, we got a canoe. Let's go out there.
Yeah.
We walk past 30 of these old fuckers with these giant, big, huge throwing. They go, hey guys, how's it going? We put our canoe right in that lake. We just head out in Lake Ontario. Guess what? You get out there. Oh shit! All of a sudden, navigable. Oh, ocean like. I mean, you'll be here, and
Yeah.
before you know it, the water's 30 feet over your head. You're in this depression, and then you're doing this.
You're talking about when the waves.
Yeah,
are
you're
high,
doing
you're
this.
in the low.
You're doing, oh my God.
Oh
and
my
we're on a
gosh.
16-foot fiberglass canoe. The two of us, me and Joe. It's nothing to get out there. It took us hours. I mean, hours to get back in.
Because you're paddling against like the strong.
It's
current.
almost, and the wind.
The
And, oh
wind.
my, and not to mention, we're looking over there. Oh, that's a barge. It looked like a giant, like a city block. No, you can't say that.
No, but
About 100 square foot flat platform with a crane on it. And I
Yeah.
mean, is it going to hit me or we got to get the fuck away from this thing?
do you think a lot of people don't understand the power and like
I
the
know they
dangers of
don't.
water when they go out there?
Then we get back in, and some of their people are like, maybe not the same ones. Are you fucking crazy taking that out there? And they say, where the fuck were you?
No,
Where are
no
you
one said
idiots? You
anything.
watched us launch this thing, you know? Oh, watch these guys go die. Nobody mentioned that. We dodged death.
Dodge the bullet
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could have been dead.
Not to mention, though, there was a joke.
Be in the newspaper.
I had 3 life preservers in that canoe.
Well, that's good.
And a flotation thing. I told Joe, I go, how about you? A couple minutes, I'm walking off this fucking lake. I'm out of here, man.
A swim bag.
And he didn't have one. He goes, where's your preserver? We don't need them. Joe, you are dense as shit. You're gonna
You're gonna
fall like
sink-
a
you're
rock.
like a rock.
You ain't gonna swim. You can't swim for shit. You know,
Yeah.
neither can I. 2 non-swimmers on Lake Ontario.
Smart.
We dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
I don't know how we did it, but we did. Yeah, we didn't die. Okay, we get back to Canada
Yeah.
story.
So
that hurt.
okay.
That's
So
not
okay.
funny. Why is that funny?
So once you get to Canada, how long are you in there before you come back?
My whole trip was 14 days, Joe. 'Cause
Wow.
I got 4. I didn't plan that. I thought, I'll just ride every day. I had to change my whole outlook on life.
Yeah.
Because my body, you don't realize.
Was breaking down.
You cannot ride every day. I mean, you maybe
This
ride
is
2.
an intense thing you're
Yeah.
expecting
maybe,
of your
if you're,
body.
maybe if you're riding
Even if you're built for
20,
it.
30 miles a day, you can do it every day. I'm trying to crank. 'Cause
You're
I'm
doing,
naive.
like,
I don't know what the
70
fuck
miles.
I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm just blindly riding.
So
you
when
know?
you're there, do you do anything fun while you're in Canada?
I was gonna say,
Yes, it's
I
also
encountered
those
this
stories.
Upper Canada village. Now that might have been, I might have my days screwed up. I can't remember. It was the second. I was just in Canada. I can't
Yep.
remember where. I have to look up where that is. But it's set. There's it's set in like 1780, 1770.
Really?
And I'm kidding, Joe. This is like 2 acres. It's a Upper Canada village.
Do you remember what it's called?
Upper Canada Village.
Also, okay.
That's what they call it.
Yeah.
They live, it's like people come there, like love it's college students or something else. Everything is done as it was, and they don't cheat on nothing.
Really?
The whole place runs like it's a time capsule for
That's-
the mid
that's really
1700s.
cool, though.
Blacksmiths,
Really?
the houses, butter turning. If you eat anything you do, it's done at that area.
That place.
Yeah.
No outside
And they do
interference.
this 24/7, 12 months a year.
Here's my question.
Yep.
Do you think that still exists today?
I don't know. I'm hoping it is. That was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost 40 years ago.
Yeah. Well,
I
that's
hope it
cool.
is. I so hope it is. I mean, they made the clothes.
Really?
And I stayed there a couple of days. I mean,
Well, that
not
sounds
in
like
there.
a kind of a peaceful life.
And you had to
honestly.
pay so much to go in there. You could eat. You go in these little pubs and you're drinking mead, like they had mead and yogurt.
That's-
The food.
I would like to
I mean,
check
the
that
big
out.
old lead glass. I think I don't want to drink out of that. I mean, you can get modern drinks, coffee and
But
soda.
it was aesthetically.
It was
like,
done. I mean, everything.
1700s.
Down to to their shoe. I mean, they cheated on nothing.
That's cool though.
It was realistic to the max.
So how was the ride back versus the ride there?
It was kind of deflating.
Deflating.
Yeah, because I knew I was going back to my life, and I was still kind of wearing down a little bit.
Yeah, so you're
And
like physically depressed.
So I get that. Yeah, and not to mention I'd been there all by myself, and I had all these ups and downs, but I had no one to share it with.
We might get into it in the future thing, but like you end up doing this twice in
Yeah.
your lifetime, right?
But the second time,
was way smoother.
and why?
You learned.
This time, me and Kenny rode it. Jim still pussied out.
So you weren't alone the second.
No, I had Kenny, the football player bicycles, who I give the most credit in the world, because that fucker never gave up a bet. Well, we were going to go far, but he wore down, and I thought he would do it a lot faster. I didn't think we'd even make it up there.
Yeah.
He really, but this time we planned it ahead. I didn't have to carry nothing. I had my Jeep. Joe and his son, Jaybird,
Followed you.
and Mark, our friend, with a truck.
Yeah.
They carried all the equipment. We didn't have to carry nothing. They would go ahead. We would play. We're going
And
to
you
meet
meet
at.
them ahead.
We're going to
Yeah.
meet at, say, we're at the same KO in Selkirk
Same
Shore.
camp, yeah.
But we pulled in. I pulled into a barbecue going.
Yeah.
We walk. Hey, we right in. Well, we're right into eating. You know. Our
So
friends got
way smoother the second
Oh
time
yeah, I
around.
didn't have to carry no weight. Oh, it was just.
Well,
smooth as
here's the
silk.
question though.
Yeah.
It was smoother and easier, but which one for you is the more memorable experience? Because
The most-
if it's easier, it's not as
Yeah.
memorable, right?
Yeah. The first one is the one I always think of, but for enjoyment factor.
The
That was with my best friend. I
yeah,
mean,
so you're sharing
he
the
didn't ride.
experience.
Yeah, and
You're not physically.
yeah,
as
and I
hurt.
already had the appreciation for things running smooth.
Yeah.
And I was smarter. I was so much easier on my body.
Did
And
you-
this time I planned ahead. We had fishing equipment.
Yeah.
We put 14 days. We all took our 2 weeks. But we did fishing thing. We did some fishing. You know,
Yeah.
we hung out.
Yep.
It was just a good time. Yeah.
So I was gonna ask the cyclist you met the first time around. Did you take his advice and take a different route the second time?
No, I did the same route, but I did the
Same
things
route.
that he said.
Yeah.
I planned in. We planned in rest days. I wasn't carrying that extra.
weight. Yeah. So you took his advice.
30 pounds
Yeah.
sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot. It
It
don't
is
sound
a
like a
lot.
lot. It's a lot if you're
Oh, no,
dragging
it does,
You're
yeah.
carrying it on your bike. It's a lot. Oh, I did everything he said.
Okay, yeah. So those are your Canada trips, right?
Yeah.
Some of my favorite
Yeah.
stories you told, right?
Yeah.
Just
Not to
insane
mention,
physical
and not to
feats.
mention, you could take an ounce of weed over the Canadian border, and they didn't even fucking slow you down.
Yeah.
Because on the way back, Kenny's like, "Oh no! Oh, they're gonna fight! They're gonna fight it!" He throws a half ounce of weed away. I go, "You're fucking nuts!" I shoved mine down inside the tube of the bike. It's like, "Where you guys come from? Canada? Where you going? Cortland? Have a good trip." Kenny's
Yeah,
like,
didn't give a shit.
Kenny's
yeah.
like, "All right, I go, I don't want." He goes, "You say weed? No." "Oh yes, I will." He threw his off this bridge going back. This
Oh.
great big bridge. He just takes his weed.
He-
and throws,
he was
he lost his
worried about
nerve.
getting-
He's like,
yeah.
"Oh, I'm in prison." "Oh no!" He's just like, "Oh no!" I go,
And
"Kenny,
this
you're not-"
this is back in the day where weed could still get you
Oh
in
yeah,
some serious
it gets you
trouble.
in prison.
Just for
The
reference.
thing, I go, Kenny,
Nowadays.
I did it 2 years ago. It ain't gonna be no different. I came right across with weed. Not to mention my first trip, I left with an ounce of marijuana. I smoked pot. Oh, that's another thing. I smoked pot the whole way. Every couple hours, I get high. Didn't slow me down. I love smoking weed.
So that's an interesting segue.
Yeah.
What would you say is your craziest experience in your life with party drugs, or party substances?
I
'Cause
don't know where to
being
start.
being a young man in the '80s,
I don't even know
you
where
came
to
across.
start.
Just tell one. Any your funnest one.
This is gonna make me sound bad. You want this on tape? I am old enough to have done the transition from freebase cocaine. I saw the fish tail to crack. I seen it all.
Yeah.
I jumped off the boat before the crack because I seen that was just a waste of
Yeah.
your time. It was just nothing but death faster.
Yeah.
It's a trap all the way.
Yeah.
Cocaine was its thing. Cocaine was big
Yeah,
for
and
hundreds of
just,
years.
Just for reference, don't feel shy about it because I feel like pretty much everyone from that era,
Yeah.
the '80s, had some kind of run-in with
I
it.
tell these kids at work, we did cocaine for breakfast, and that's
Yeah.
not a lie. Yeah, it was just everywhere.
Yeah.
I told the story just yesterday. It's hard not to do cocaine. You go play softball, and the guy's handing out little vials of coke before games. I'm not even kidding. We would do cocaine before we play softball.
Tell that story. You told me a story about how I'm going to detail because I want you to tell it. But like basically, you didn't even go to sleep after. I think you went out for a whole night of partying. You didn't go to sleep. You just did more of
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and then you went right into work.
That
right?
was a regular. That wasn't that unusual. Me and Joe could do that all day. Yeah.
off the.
Joe,
you
I'm
would-
gonna tell you what. I want to put this on record. I never got into cocaine until I met Joe. Yeah, I'm not kidding.
You want to put that
I mean,
on
I
record.
played with it, but Joe could do some, and his wife could do some coke, and he had friends.
Did you do that like when you were lifting?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
working out? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not
Probably
saying
put up
it's
crazy
smart.
good numbers. Yeah.
Oh, it's just
probably
stupid,
just
though. Yeah,
stressing your
stupid.
heart out to the fucking
Stupid.
max.
Yeah, we did dumb shit.
Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, everybody did cocaine. It was
Yeah.
a fucking epidemic. Which I'll tell you what, I bet you the cops, the authorities would wish that's all there was now. Then you had this fentanyl.
Fentanyl,
People
yeah.
weren't dropping dead every
Which makes
fucking
coke
day.
look like
And meth.
like baby
Are
powder.
you kidding me? Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I don't know where we went wrong, but
Who knows?
should have stayed with cocaine.
So
you know?
okay, so you have a long story of scraps, right? And I love when you tell your scrap
Yeah.
stories,
I
right?
don't think I don't want to. I am not a bad. I hate that
No,
term.
I know,
never
I know,
am.
I know.
I was born in a body that says punch me. They see this nose, my face, and
Yeah.
people just thought there's somebody that
And I
can
was
touch
gonna,
my
I was gonna
girlfriend
frame
with.
it. I was
Yeah.
gonna frame it, right? Like you
Yeah.
never were the type of person to look for a problem.
don't like fighting.
You were just out at the bar or
Yeah.
a social gathering, having a good time, and someone wouldn't mess with you.
It's
right?
always there's always that dumb fucking so-called badass that
Yeah.
they're gonna
And-
look for the path of least resistance.
That
They ain't gonna
impress
fuck
their
with a guy
girl.
who looks like Joe. They're gonna fuck with his little friend.
Yeah, and not to mention, you grew up like basically
Boxing.
having to fight a lot.
I had
growing up.
there's one man I've been afraid of my life, and that was my brother.
Your
Buddy.
brother, yeah. Okay, so anyway, but I want to say, like, just put that out there, like, yeah, you know, he was never the type to start a fight or anything.
Never
He would
like
just
that.
have to be in these altercations. But and obviously, fighting is not fun. But if you had one story you had to tell from like those altercations you had, which one would you like tell?
Okay, I would tell the one. I'm at Smith and Hanley's on Clinton Ave. This is about
80s, sometime probably.
probably 88.
88. Okay, so you're
I'm
like
just
in your
sitting
later
there
20s.
in my bar. I used to have the bar where it snowed year round.
Yeah.
The bar club, we'd go upstairs, and the bar owner, Dick Hanley, he's dead now. He won't care.
Yeah. You won't
That
mind.
guy had more coke than he knew what to do with.
Yeah.
He had a bar.
Yeah.
I mean, he supplemented his income just getting rid of coke. Well, I'm in the middle of the bar. I'm minding my business with my friend. This stupid little fucker Mark, whatever the fuck it is. He had run his mouth with my dad. My dad said, "I'll knock your stupid ass right." My dad was a scrapping fuck. I'll give him that. My dad
Yeah.
could fight.
Yeah.
I've seen my dad fight a guy 3 times his size and beat him. I mean, he
Yeah.
took a whipping, but he beat that guy.
Yeah.
But anyways, I guess he had a problem. So I'm in there, and this guy, I don't know him from Adam. He comes up, and he's like, I mean, just physically trying to attack me. And I'm like,
Like, no
dude,
reason. You're
I
sitting
don't,
at the
I don't
bar.
have no problem. I get to where I go, dude, I don't want no problem here. I'm backing up. I get to, at the bar, they had phone booths in those days.
Yeah.
I couldn't go no further. I'm like, dude, you got to leave me. And I watched that
yeah.
guy. He did that little flinch, and
You
that's
could see he's going to try to hit you.
Everybody has a tell.
Well, you knew some.
Most
you
fighters,
knew you weren't, you're gonna
most
have to fight,
fighters
yeah.
don't have that punch from the shoulder. They have
Yeah.
the rear. They have to.
So they give it
He
away.
did that little cock, and I'm telling you what, I wasn't thinking about it, but I had been hitting a heavy bat. I boxed since I boxed
Young.
with my uncle. I boxed with my brother.
Yeah.
I had that jab hook.
Really
I mean,
clean form. You
Ooh,
got,
and I'm telling you, I do it you don't throw it with your arm, you throw it with your waist.
Yeah.
You torque, and I'm telling you, I came around,
Ooh.
and you know, I didn't even feel it.
Where'd you connect?
Right in the side of his head. I watched his eye, and it was just like,
A clean.
whoo! And then the dumb fucker, it was a month later, same bar, I'm trying to leave, and that stupid fucker tries to sucker punch me.
Again?
Outside the bar when the bar closed.
Oh
I'd
my
been waiting for
God.
me. And this time, I'm not making this up, I took you ever see the glass with the wire inside it?
Yes.
Well, that was the outer door of the bar, and then there was a regular door on the inside.
Yeah.
On my life, he tried to sucker
comes at
punch
you
me.
again.
I didn't even punch him. I didn't
Yeah.
have to punch. I
Yeah.
got him by his hair, and on my life, I slammed his fucking face into that security glass. I may not have cracked it, but I cracked his fucking
How many
head.
times?
About 10, 20. I don't
Oh
give a
my
shit.
God.
And to the point where I'd seen him maybe 2 years after that, maybe 3. I'd see him once in a while. He had a fucking scar right here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have caved. If my friend hadn't, I'd have caved his head off. Because
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. I knew this guy wasn't
You're
going to
being
leave me alone. I was
disrespected, yeah.
afraid.
Yeah.
This guy's not going to leave. Eventually, he's going to get me.
Yeah.
He's bigger than me. You know,
So you want
law
to
of
set an
averages.
example. Like
the guy
leave
had
me alone.
40 pounds on me at least.
So the cool thing about it for me is like growing up, I'd always heard these stories, not just from you, but like your friends and stuff, right? People who knew you, but I had never witnessed it myself. So we have this night where I'm probably like, I don't know, 15.
No,
16.
you were old. Remember, you're getting ready to go to TC3. So
Oh, so I was like 18 then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm like 18 years old, and I think I was having like, was I having chest pain or mom was having chest
Oh
pain?
no,
was
yeah,
having-
chest pain.
yeah, I was
Ended up
having,
being
like,
anxiety or something. Whatever,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
shit, whatever.
So we go to the hospital for that, and we're in the waiting room. And I'll tell the first half, then you can tell the second half. I'm just setting the stage right now. So we're in the waiting room, right? It's like you, me, mom, and my cousin Tristan. Who
I
will...
kind of blocked a lot of that out. I don't know why. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Well, anyways, we're there. We're in the waiting room waiting, and there's also a young couple. They're probably like 16, 17, a girl and a boy, yeah. And we're just sitting there silently, and then this guy, this belligerent drunk guy, enters the facility, the emergency wing of the hospital, and this guy's probably like 6 foot plus, probably like 350.
I don't think he was that big.
He's fat. He's
Oh yeah,
big.
he was big.
So let's say 300. He's 300 pounds
Yeah, he's
for
big.
sure.
I know he scared me.
Yeah. And he comes, and you can tell looking at this guy, he's trouble. He's belligerent, loud, and he has like a drunken sway
Yeah,
body
yeah,
language.
I
You
didn't
can,
like that.
you immediately can tell. Okay, this is not gonna be good.
Yeah.
He wanders his way over to like the waiting area, right? He might even go to the front desk first
Yeah,
and
I
say
think he
something
did.
to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And he works.
Oh no, actually, I remember. I think he had been in the back, and they had him. Remember, he was having arguing
with the staff.
those people there. Yeah,
Yeah.
before that even happened.
Yeah,
You know?
so he works his way over to us.
I had my Spidey side. Oh man,
You
Okay.
saw this guy, and
Oh,
you were
God.
keeping your eye on him. Yeah. So he comes over to the waiting room area, and he sits right next to that couple, right?
That nice
so
young girl.
just to put it in reference, it's like an L shape of seats, right? We're like here, the couple's here, and
Yeah.
he sits like in between
Yeah.
us and them, right? Or is he to the
No,
right of them?
he's on the right of them.
Yeah, so
It's
he's to the
us,
right of them,
them,
yeah.
He's right there.
So he sits down. You want to tell the rest of the story from here?
If I can remember it correctly, we're sitting there. We're just waiting to get Joe in to get seen.
Yeah.
You know, he's coming up on TC3. You know, he's just
Community college,
that normal thing. We had to get him
Yeah.
looked at. Nothing. So I'm concentrating on that.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm in protective mode. Here's my nephew who I love like my son. Here's
Yep.
my wife who I love.
Yep.
And my son. And then on the other day, I have compassion. Right at first, I didn't know if he was going to be a problem, but why did he go sit by this young girl?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not, I know there's trepos, you know?
Yeah. It's creepy.
And then I feel like I can almost feel for that young boy. You can tell he was intimidated by this
Yeah.
guy.
So the guy sits
Yeah, and then
next
he's
to
like,
her, and starts
"Oh,
making
you're pretty." Well, maybe try to touch your hair or something.
Making
He
inappropriate
goes, "I would
actions
like."
and
Then he goes, "I would like to fuck you." Whatever he said like
Yeah,
that.
and
I was like, I go, "Are you all right?" I don't think I talked to him.
Yeah, you just leaned over and
I
you're
go,
like,
"Are you all right?" Or something like that, young lady. And whatever he said, he goes, "You fucking me, whatever the
The
fuck, I'll
Prince,
murder you,"
your-
whatever the fuck it was.
well-being of your life.
And I am not stupid. I just know. I read his. I knew he was. It was on.
He's gonna
I
do
knew something was
something.
going to happen.
Something's gonna
I knew it was
happen,
going.
Yeah.
Did
There's
I
no
stand? Did
talking
he
around
stand
it.
up or did I stand up?
You both. I think he said
I think
that.
I think I tried to. I reacted to him jump. I think he was jumping.
He was getting up.
Yeah, I think he was. I
Yeah,
got.
and this is a huge
yeah,
person.
yeah. I can't
Twice
stand.
your
I can't
size.
stand up, can I? I shouldn't stand up.
No, because you're gonna be out of
Yeah.
frame. But
the
yeah.
thing is, I don't know why.
So you both shoot up.
I came up in perfect position. I
Yeah.
came up balanced on my toes.
Yeah. So let me
Yeah.
fill this part because
Yeah.
this is from my perspective, right? This is my only time seeing you in a physical altercation, right? And you're like in your 50s at this point, so
No,
you're.
no, I would say
I think so.
you're
like
like,
early
you were
50s.
like 18.
So
I was 33 when you were born.
So
I would have
close
been
to-
50. I was 50,
50 on the
51.
51. Okay.
51.
Yeah. So this guy gets up and he's obviously coming towards you.
Oh yeah.
And when I say you got up and this was like the cleanest, most fluid motion, right? And
I
this
think
is,
it was a 1-2 or maybe
It was,
1-1-2. Tristan says it's 1-1-2. I don't know. I can't remember.
from how I remember it, right? And this is why I love boxing. Is a quick segue. It's just
Yeah.
when you have that, it's almost like poetry,
Yeah.
physical poetry, right? The guy comes at you, you perfectly present. I think it was a
Jab.
A jab.
Jab.
You,
That was two.
You jab. Let's say it was two.
Two.
Two jab. Yeah. Boom. He stumbles, comes back in like an idiot, right? And it's like it's almost like a math equation. You're like, if he's right here,
Yeah.
that has the perfect length for me to keep him at a
yeah.
distance with a perfectly lined
Yep.
jab out straight beautiful
And
jab. A
straight left.
second one,
Yeah.
boom, he stumbles again. Was there a third hit? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
You hooked him, right?
No, it was a straight off the shoulder, straight
Boom.
left.
So
Straight
So it
off
was a
it.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Right,
drive
right.
to the left.
And my
Yeah.
weight was distributed perfect, and he walked straight, and it made that perfect sound.
Boom, yeah.
And I like again, you know, it's a perfect punch when you don't feel it, you
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah.
I didn't even feel
And these
it.
were beautiful shots. Yeah. Those,
Well, I gotta admit, it
like
was,
picture
yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
And he went.
Yeah, yeah. And he I can't remember. Did he fall?
Oh yeah, but he was gonna get back up.
He was gonna get back
and
up.
if the fucker, if
And
he
then
had, he was
gonna
gonna
be a
be
lot
the
more
next. No,
violence.
the next one would have
Be a
been
knee.
No, it would have been. Yeah, remember when your form is like your shoulder jab will follow. You
And,
follow
boom.
this, so then you're in position for what?
A hook.
Perfect hook. If he'd have got up,
It would've
he'd
been a
have
hook.
walked in, and my best punch by far was my uppercut. That hook would have slept him.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
hurt him.
But then what happened was before he got up, the security came out.
Oh yeah,
right?
yep,
Yep.
yep.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the young lady said thank you.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. At least he gave me like not a hug, but it was like, and that made me feel good. I was more worried about the boy. You know, he just
He's a young kid.
yeah. What's he
right?
supposed to? He's overwhelmed by this idiot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and it's like yeah, you're supposed to protect.
And I remember the
but you're a
cops get
kid.
there, and I'm thinking, I'm sorry,
gonna go to
Kelly.
jail.
I'm like, sorry, Kelly, I'm sorry, I'm going to get arrested. I'm sorry, I know I'm going to get arrested. And then the guy came out there. They were looking at the tape. Yep, you're doing what I would have done. What anybody
isn't that
would have
cool?
done.
Isn't
I
that
go,
cool?
no, I should have handled it different. I was being political. I'm thinking, yeah, I wish I hit him again now, but I don't want to be. No, I should have handled it differently. Which maybe I could, but I don't think he left any choice in the matter.
No, he really did.
You know,
yeah,
he was going to scar
belligerent.
that girl emotionally.
Yeah.
You know, I hope
See,
that
in my
girl-
mind, I view that as a very heroic
You
thing,
know?
right? Because you are the one person in the situation who can do something. Like me and Tristan, we're teenagers.
Yeah, yeah.
You got mom,
Yeah.
young boy there. It's like
And
you
your
were,
mom didn't care. She said, oh, pff, whatever,
you know.
idiot.
So it's almost like you were
Yeah.
just doing what.
I remember
it
she'd
might-
seen me in fights before that.
Yeah, yeah,
She must
so
be in
nothing
that
to do
road
with-
rage. And that guy was even bigger. I swear I picked him up and put him down like quick. Yeah.
But it's kind of like that's what a man. In my mind, a
Yeah.
man protects those who can't protect
But that cop
themselves.
goes, yeah, I'm going to be charged. And he got fucking nailed. That guy
Yeah.
got a lot of charges out of it. He did too.
Good, good.
He got
Well,
arrested.
deserves
But
a
that
lot
security
of
comes out. He goes, they were looking at the tape. You didn't do anything anybody else wouldn't have done. So
Yeah,
I was thinking,
which is awesome.
thank you. I did not want to get arrested in front of you guys. You
Yeah,
know, I
no,
didn't
you
want
don't
to deal
want
with that. You
Yeah.
know, but if it had to, I'd have taken it. And I just told the judge, I'd have done it again.
Yeah, I'm just protecting
I'd
my
have
family.
done it again. You
Yeah.
know?
'Cause who knows what he would have done?
And I
if
don't
he
know
didn't
what
stop
that
him.
guy ended up. I think he must have had a record before then. I don't know what
probably,
the deal was.
yeah. Probably
you
was a
know?
career
I hope he got a
delinquent.
I hope he got a life lesson out of that.
You'd hope so. I mean,
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Control
don't
your drinking.
don't
or-
accost young girls.
You think he was drunk, or you think he was on something else?
I think he was on both. I think
Yeah.
they had kicked. I think he had an issue with the staff or
Probably
something.
mental
I don't
health
even know why the
issues, too.
fuck he was even there. He
Yeah.
didn't look sick, but he just looked whacked,
Yeah.
drunk, stoned. He was on something. I know that.
Yeah, no
you
doubt.
Know? That was screwed. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's some of your physical tales over the years. So
I'd rather talk about my work. I got some physical tales as of last night. I was cranking, man.
all these years later, you're still working your
Although,
butt off.
Joe, it hits me every day now. I love that I can do this all the time, but my body's telling me that I
Slow it down.
Even this, I can't. It's a 20-hour, 4 hours a day. It was turned into 5, so I can't stop.
Yep.
But I'm telling you, the writing's on the wall. I gotta
Yeah.
physically slow down. I'm
Yeah.
worried about my hip
Got it.
blowing out. Immobility is my worst fear. I don't want to be stationary. My hip is gonna go.
Well, that's why I always say if you don't use it, if you don't use it. You
If I was sitting still, I'd be already in trouble. I mean,
Yeah.
it's good for me now, but I know when it's too much. Or exercise.
Do you think there's
proper-
something
you
to be
can
said?
exercise into harm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can
know?
overexercise, but do you think there's something to be said about having jobs that require physical activity versus
I think it's better for you.
what's the word? Sedentary
Yeah.
jobs where you're sitting all
'Cause I'm
day.
not blowing my own horn, but I can outmatch a lot of 63-year-olds out
I feel
there.
like a lot of people who have the sedentary work life, they probably age a lot worse,
Yeah,
right?
they
Because
do.
they're sitting, you're not getting.
I'm
your
blessed with
cardio.
good genetics for not getting weight, but I'm telling you,
Yeah,
I
like
think it's
no
made
body
me.
fat,
It's
just
kept
lean,
me.
yeah.
Kept me young.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, I really
Yeah,
think
that's
so.
the one thing I'd say about you. Like I'm looking at you now, you come off young still.
know?
Yeah, for being 63, you're very
You know?
young still.
Well, I'm not 63 yet. I got
62, sorry.
what have I got? 15 days. What is the date today?
The
30th.
30th, yeah. So
I got 14
14
days. No, it's
2 weeks.
Yeah, there's the how
There's
many-
31st
31.
in May, yeah.
Shit. So I'm within 2 weeks of it. I shouldn't let it bug me, but damn.
So let's get back to Smith Corona. Tell the story how
love
you met
working there.
how you met Mom.
It's nuts. I mean, I see her. on the line and everything. Like for a couple of years, I was her stock chaser and everything.
This is the early. This
Okay,
is
I'm going to go back to the other story. When I first met her, it was from afar. I didn't even talk to her about. We're at the steak bake. Me
Yeah.
and Joe, we were all everybody's drinking, and I did one of these. What the? I looked over and I seen. You like to talk about this. I'm not talking sexual.
No, you're
but
fine.
Here's your mom even now is cute.
yeah.
But if you seen her, okay, I don't even know what the hell. That was like probably when did I meet her first?
Late 80s.
Yeah, it must have been '89. So I'm 27.
Yep.
So she's 22.
Yeah. So she's
And
young.
if you
Yep.
that she was still the best rated out left fielder in 3 leagues.
Yeah.
Your mom,
My mom-
I want you to comprehend what an athlete your
Let's
mom
give him
is.
a little bit of a.
Yeah,
My mom loves softball. She's been
and
playing it.
not just love it.
Her as
She
long as I've been
excels
alive.
at it.
Yeah.
And she was not. She was the upper echelon player.
Yeah.
She
Longer
was
than I've
a-
been alive.
Honestly, she
actually.
played on traveling leagues. How many people play on traveling leagues?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, she was that good.
So
she
anyways.
was requested. Okay, so it's like this. I'm at the steak baking. Those people all around. The bands are going. I'm like, oh, almost hurt my neck. I was like that because I
Double
see
take.
these purple hot pants
Oh God.
and a beige halter top
Yeah.
and that curly little hair of hers and that little
Is it
athletic,
perm?
crazy little build of hers was right in my wheelhouse, which is everything I thought of. Perfect
So you found her attractive.
breast.
Long
Yeah,
story.
oh my
Okay.
God.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You found her attractive.
That, yeah. But that was from afar because she was married and everything. You know?
That's right. She was with
Oh,
my brother's father.
Yeah,
still,
she's
yeah.
still married. She was just bumping, athletic, and hyper like me, and
Yeah,
you know,
it's a
couldn't get
good match,
our
yeah.
conversations were like, you know, no one else could talk to us because they couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
But it was just that's how I met her, you know. And she was a working fool, which she's always been. We
Yeah.
got that in common.
And one thing I wanted to mention is like when you're, so she divorces her husband and she
Yeah.
has Justin, my
Whacked
brother.
out, yeah,
So
whacked
just
out
how old was
relationship.
Justin when you got with mom? Like 3?
Let's see, he was
He's born 88.
88.
You're talking like 4 maybe.
Well, we officially got together in '92.
So he's like 4
He's like
years old.
4.
Yeah, like 4
Or
years
not
old.
quite 4. No, it was March, and he turned 4 in August.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, what I'm getting
Yep.
to is like I wanted to commend you on
Yep.
that because it's like you're essentially raising this kid that isn't yours and you're
Well, we were
taking
just
on
dating. We're still just
yeah,
dating.
but in the
Yeah.
long term, he
Yeah,
ended
yeah.
up being like your son.
Well, I
as
knew that going in. Yeah, no problem. I loved it. You know, I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever treated him different from like
No.
a stepson.
No.
You know, and it still leads me into my. Well, I do think I was a strict dad, but I don't think I was like an abusive dad. I shouldn't even
No,
say that.
not
word.
even
No, I
close,
don't
not
want to put
even
that out
remotely
there.
close,
But I
no.
was strict,
You're
and looking back, I'm glad. I mean, not
I wouldn't even say
oppressively.
strict. It's like you made sure
I
we
knew
knew
I didn't want the
right and wrong
mistakes
things to do.
made
Yeah.
with you that were made with me. I didn't want that
Exactly.
to happen.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted your
Yeah.
foundation to be right.
So
You know?
describe what it was like to being a dad, growing up. Like when I was growing up, what was it like?
It's the most enjoyable and most
Terrifying.
frightening,
Yeah.
stressful thing all at the same time.
Yeah.
And when you, Joe, a lot of people enter into it. I got my friend Chuck, breaks up his old lady. I'm fucking leaving her. Didn't talk to his daughter for 18 years.
Deadbeat.
How
Dad,
the
yeah.
fuck does that
And you've
happen?
always made it known you cannot stand.
When you
deadbeat
came out of
dads.
your mom's stomach,
Yep.
I mean, the light went on.
Yeah.
It's not about me. You know, it's not about me no more.
Yep. It's about
You know,
this
it's about
person
this
that I
unit.
made.
It's
Yeah.
about this unit. Try to keep this unit together.
This family.
And then we'll go into that where all the stress comes in. Where I don't think your mom was as emotionally invested as I was. She, you know, just done. It led to silly things, you know, like
Yeah.
financials, dumb. But that's every couple. But you know what? The point of my story is we got through all that.
Yeah, we got through.
We've
all
been.
of
I'm
that.
not saying our relationship was not rocky. It was rocky as a Rocky Mountain, you know. But that's what happens. But
Yeah, that's
through all
the
that, we've
relationship,
kept
yeah.
that love and whatever. And we have. If you don't have some kind of conflict, then you don't have no. I mean, the best part of the argument is the making up. But, I mean, we had issues. You've seen it. I mean, there's
Yeah.
things I wish you hadn't seen. But you know what?
Hey,
Life is
happens,
rough.
though,
But
yeah.
the thing is, we didn't just let it hang. We worked through it and we found the positive and everything.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
I don't look. But you know, it was stressful. It's enjoyable as shit.
What was like your favorite moment from my childhood? You think?
There's too many.
Just
Probably
pick
the
a- pick a
tiger
couple.
cage. I don't know why.
The tiger tub. Yeah.
I don't know.
So, okay.
No. No, at the zoo that day.
Oh, that's
I don't
right,
know
yeah.
why.
We have a
That
picture
day
of
taking
it.
you to work, and everybody meeting you,
Oh,
and
they'll
that
take you to
perfect
work
day
there.
at the zoo.
Syracuse Zoo.
Oh, what a remember when you were a little kid and I got that picture, the tiger and the tiger's head looks like you're right next to the tiger.
There's a pic. Yeah.
Oh,
Well to
man.
find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, where
I
it's
bet
like
it's in that cedar chest.
Yeah, I'm what, like 5 or 6,
Let's see.
maybe even younger.
I was working up
I
there.
was probably like 4 or 5 actually. This is before.
Yeah, you were definitely. It was 90. I'm going to say
before 90.
99.
Yeah, I was like 4 years
Yeah,
old.
yeah.
A
A little over 4.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, have you ever been to a zoo? You
I
know
was
how it
working
is.
for the Steelworkers Union in Syracuse.
That clear
making
glass.
my best money.
Yep.
This is 99. I was making 17, almost 18 bucks an hour, which was nutty money back then.
Oh yeah.
I was
Well,
a
let
steelworker.
me tell a story. I think it was like my 4th or 5th birthday. I remember, man, yeah, because like you hooked me up. I remember I
Yeah.
got everything a 4 or 5-year-old could want. I got a mini basketball hoop.
That's great.
I got a drivable. Was that the one I got the Silverado?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that's when you got your purple one, the
Right.
first one.
What was it? It was like a
It was
little
it
truck,
might have been a Ford. I think it was a Ford F-150.
little drivable
Yeah.
battery
Oh,
cars.
God, I
right?
love those things.
I remember my cousin Tristan and I. We both had them.
Yep,
we could
yep.
drive into each
Yeah,
other. and all
those things.
that.
I love those things, man.
It was an amazing birthday.
And your second one was the bomb. That
This-
Silverado.
It was a silver little
Bigger. It was a
Yep.
tandem. You could have 2 people in it.
Yep.
Bigger. Went from a 6-volt to a 12-volt battery.
2 questions. Where'd you buy those? How much were they?
We got
Walmart?
them. No. I think we got them down in Binghamton or something.
Oh, so you went the distance for those
Yeah,
things?
I think the one we might have got the first one. I think we got in Cortland,
Okay.
or it might have been at that mall up in Syracuse. It was either one of those bigger malls.
Okay, yeah.
We got the Silverado at.
Yeah. You remember how
Yep.
much that thing was back then?
They were not cheap.
Yeah.
But you gotta admit, when I made my best money when you guys were young, and I don't give a shit about now. I'm making
Oh,
less
you
now than I
spoiled
did
us,
back
yeah.
then.
Yeah.
You know?
You probably know this watching the channel. I'm a big wrestling fan.
Oh God! Oh, you're the wrestling dude, repairing wrestling dudes.
Yeah.
I love that.
So I just to frame it though, I had probably like 100 plus.
You guys had more than that. Do you remember that fucking box? Oh, that big
That's
old
fine,
box?
Yeah.
You guys had to have at least a couple thousand of those damn things.
Wrestling
I know we
action
bought them
figures,
every
yeah.
week.
Yeah.
It was insane how much we
Was
spent.
that?
I
I'm
loved
trying
it.
to remember. Was that the only toy I was really into, like hardcore?
I'm trying to think. You were into that.
That was the main one, right? That was the
You
main
guys were already getting into the more primitive. Remember we bought like a Sega. We did this.
Oh, I
mini
had
Segas.
the Hot Wheels.
Oh yeah! Oh my
The Hot
God! Oh
Wheels,
yeah!
yes,
the
yeah.
millions of miles of track.
We formed the
And
tracks
the ramps,
together.
and we could do jumps of 5 feet and make them land.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
I remember
really
the track would
fondly.
be, I'd have his 7 feet
Like
up in the air.
7 feet in the air.
And
come down. Yeah.
And do loop, but we had loops that go up on the wall and come back
Yeah.
around.
Oh, we got intricate with it.
That was good.
It was kind of like 7-year-old me is just like, can we do that? And you're like, let's find out.
Let's
see
do
if
it.
Let's see if
Remember
gravity
we
will
had
allow
that
us.
vert ramp on Cleveland Street?
The
And we,
the
the thing
yeah
for
with
the
slip.
snowboarding or whatever?
Yeah.
No, for the people, for you guys in
Yes,
the backyard.
yeah.
Which I thought, hindsight,
Dangerous.
we are killing our kid. We're going to brain,
He's gonna die, but he's
brain
having fun.
damage
At
our
least.
sons. We're going to kill our kids.
At least he's having fun though.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, yeah. I got to admit that little window there.
Yeah.
When I made that money, we put it to use.
Oh yeah.
man.
Yeah, I remember.
Always had decent little vehicles. You know.
The other thing I always remember too that I loved about my childhood it was modest in the way it's like I remember just my favorite memories are like just playing board games together,
Yeah, God, I
playing
love
playing
that.
Sorry or
Yeah.
Uno just at the table
Yeah,
together,
yeah.
having home cooked meals. Like
Yeah.
you would make it was like pork chops, mashed potatoes, and we ate really good.
Stuffing.
You always made sure we ate healthy, but it was good.
This I
healthy.
wanted meat, potatoes, a vegetable, some kind of dessert,
Yep.
and to sit at the table.
Yeah, and as a
I love
family
that.
unit,
Yep,
yeah.
I love
And I feel like that's something that's lost a lot
It
now.
is
I
true.
don't think
It is
families
now.
eat together.
Yeah, I know it sucks.
And it's true. It was cool. It was just you, me, Justin, and Mom,
Yeah.
just together,
I love
playing
those
games
days.
here,
I
getting
love
along.
those days.
Oh yeah,
And the dogs, you always had a
that
dog.
great big house, yeah, in Winter
Yeah,
Street
we always had
there.
a nice dog.
4 bedrooms, beautiful, yeah.
Yeah,
Front
that's
yard,
great.
backyard. I remember having fun in that yard.
That was a blast.
Yeah, room to
Yeah.
play too.
Where we used to shoot all of our hoops. That was at the trailer, basically. But we had a hoop down there too, remember?
There's a story
we
I
had
want
a
to
hoop.
tell.
We had a hoop at Winter Street too, though. Remember?
That's yeah.
Yeah,
Remember the
that's
one
what
that
it
those
is.
guys when we're playing there.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah?
Yeah.
And remember
when I was out there
Brian?
talking.
Brian
to
would come out and
my
play
neighbor
with us,
Brian.
yep.
Yep.
I wonder how he's doing.
I seen him a couple of years ago. He's doing all right.
That's cool. His sister?
I have
Did
no
he have a
idea.
sister?
He may have. I don't remember.
Oh, maybe that was the other kid, Jared. Maybe that was Jared had the
Jared,
sister.
yeah.
Yeah, Brian didn't
That
have
was
a-
Justin's friend anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're off topic here.
Yeah.
But I remember this day so vividly, right? And one thing I can say about my dad, when you log in, you have impeccable form
I
when it
love
comes to
it,
things.
yeah.
Whether it's boxing, darts, shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a future one. But you had
My
a hell of a
limited
dark
bocce career, bocce ball, great
Yeah.
career.
Yeah. So, anyways, we have a hoop, right? And you're free throwing, right? And basically, I'm feeding the
Yeah, it
ball
was
to you, so
great,
you're
remember.
shooting, I'm catching it,
Yeah.
rebound it back to you. And I kid you not when I say this, you made 105
I
free
know.
throws in
I
a
told Guy
row.
that, and he said, he goes, you are a liar. I go, Guy, I am
I'll
not a liar.
test
You
to
can
it
ask
right now.
Joe.
Yeah, 105
Yeah,
row.
I did 100.
And here's the thing, you didn't even. I don't even know if you missed the last one, but you just got tired.
Oh,
You're
I
like,
couldn't do it
you
anymore.
couldn't do it
man.
anymore, yeah.
Because it was this pacing of it. It was just a. And
Swan
I try to
neck
tell people,
after- yeah.
but it's not. It's all in your knee bend. All you got to do is
Yeah.
bend your knees and let it go.
Well, here's the
Yeah.
thing, though. I think it's easier said than done. I think you just have an ability to just copy and paste your form, your physical
Yeah.
movement over and over.
Which is why the
and
NBA
over.
drive me crazy. How these sons of... How can you miss 6 out of 10 free throws?
Yeah.
How is that? It's called a free throw. There's no one blocking you. It should be... You should never miss more than 1 out of 10.
No. I guess we can quickly touch on that. You are well, not lifelong, but you are second half of your lifelong fan of the New York Yankees and the New York Giants.
And New York Knicks.
The New York Knicks.
Yeah,
Yep.
don't forget that.
You are New York
And
loyal
it was accidental.
soldier. Yeah.
I didn't pick the... I mean, yeah, the Yankees were kind of forced out.
The
Just how it
the
happened.
dynasty.
Yeah, but the Giants, I was a Minnesota Vikings
Vikings fan,
up
yeah.
until like 79. They
Yeah.
were just so goddamn bad.
Yeah.
I would watch the games and somehow they just endeared themselves
The
to
Vikings
me.
or the Giants?
No, I was a Viking fan, but the Giants were so
Giants
bad.
were so
They were
bad.
not, you see Giants games because they were local. I'd have to fight to see a Vikings game. But you started watching the Giants and they were just so miserable. Just miserable.
But you started kind
I
of rooting
started
for them to
loving
get a
them. They were,
win.
I just don't know. They were so bad. And then I started seeing the little. They got what turned me on. What made me a Giants fan was Phil Simms. In my argument, the best quarterback in the history of football, Phil Simms, out of Morehead State. He was. He
Shout
turned
out
that
to Phil
team around.
Simms.
He set a record in 22 for 25 completions in the Super Bowl. Stood for 30 years before he broke that. That guy made me a Giants fan. And
I
Lawrence
think
Taylor.
my favorite night of your fanhood of the New York Giants. I think you probably know where I'm going with this. I don't remember the exact. It was probably like 2007, 2008. It was Super Bowl whatever number,
Yeah.
right? It was
The fucking Patriots.
the New York Giants, the underdog, going against the undefeated Patriots.
Yes.
What were they going into that? They were
16 and 0,
16 and 0,
looking to
right.
be a super. That they would have been could have ended up. Maybe they either would have been. Maybe it was but that was into the regular season.
Yep.
I think they would have been 19 and 0 if they'd have won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Or
what's
something
crazy
like that.
about this game, if I remember correctly, not only were the stakes so high because it was like you'd never seen a team go undefeated the entire season.
It'd been done once in
yeah.
72 with a 14-game season.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this was even more
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
than that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
here stands the Giants, like the final barricade between this
And
unstoppable force. and
this wasn't the
immortality,
first
essentially.
year that the Bengals were the streaks. They were dominant from 2000. Remember this? This was Brady
Patriots.
and his. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
This wasn't one
They were a
fluke
dynasty,
year.
yeah.
They were such a prohibited favorite.
Him and
Yeah.
Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
perfect duo.
Yeah, yeah.
To just
And I give them their
kick
props.
ass.
I give them their
Oh
props.
yeah.
Yep.
Despite all the
That's
whatever
what
you
made
wanna
it
say
so
about
great.
Brady.
My team.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yep.
yeah. So it's just the hype is there for this, right? And I feel like it was almost a foregone conclusion beforehand because
Yeah.
they'd even made merch, they'd made
Oh,
hats
oh.
and shirts.
Oh yeah, that was a
of
big story
17
about that.
and
They had to
0.
send them offshore because they made so many. And what are we gonna do with all these fucking?
So it was
guys?
the Giants were already just discounted off.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Eli Manning was just a hindsight. Oh,
Shot in the pan.
Oh, poor guy going up against Brady. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, but then sure as shit, what happened? So, if I remember correctly, this was a nail biter of a game, right? It was not.
It came
it
down
was
to
not
the
a
last.
one-side-
At 17-14, we drove that last freaking drive. It was within probably 2 minutes of the game.
That's
I think it left a
insane.
little over a minute left.
Do you think that's like one of the greatest moments in NFL history and football
See,
history?
in the overall scheme of things, they'll say no, but because
But
of
to
the
you
provenance of
personally-
the undefeated, it's up there on the Pantheon. For me, oh yeah.
Yeah.
How are you going to beat that?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
How can you beat that?
Yeah, and it's
The only
picture
thing was
perfect.
better that they beat them like 4 years later in the Super Bowl too. So that was cool. But I mean
And that was Eli still.
yeah, that was the bloom off the lily. I mean, we had already got. I didn't hate Brady anymore because I knew we bested him.
It's kind of cool thing about that. So like, Eli's legacy is he is the Brady Slayer.
Yeah.
He beat him twice.
Yeah, and he's MVP twice too in
Yeah.
the Super Bowl. Only
Yeah.
time that's ever happened. with
So
Brady.
Tom Brady has
Yeah.
to go to the grave knowing he never beat
Although-
Eli, right?
I regret. I wish the Eagles, because I hate the Eagles more than anything. I wish they had beat. I wish they had got beat.
See,
I
that
wish the only
works.
time they lost was to the Giants in Super Bowls.
That works because I hate
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's a fucking crazy.
It
When you
is.
guys been down, I go. You don't know where you're going. That is the craziest town in the fucking world.
If I get Tristan on here, I'll go into detail about our fucking
Ooh.
crazy stories in Philadelphia.
yeah, remember, I had been there when I was. Imagine being an 18-year-old kid.
You're driving down there, right?
No, I was
You're-
a laborer
work.
for the driver.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
You're
that guy, he
unloading
was
stuff?
a union guy to do all the loading, unloading.
Yeah.
I mean, in Philadelphia, I'm 18 years old. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy. On the docks, and those
Yeah.
food processing plants. Like the saying is down there. You watch Philly, 9
The
out of
hook,
10. Yeah, 9,
bums
10 out
gotta-
of bums are hooking off the jab. Means that's a boxing. Some of the most famous that's
Rocky.
a boxing city.
Yeah, Rocky.
Joe Frazier, all these guys, but they're hooking off the jab.
Yeah.
You know, you can't fuck with.
Here's-
Meaning, don't fuck with anybody in Philly.
Here's an interesting question.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite?
I'm saying F a lot in this.
No, I don't care.
Okay.
What would you say is your favorite job you ever had? I know you've had a lot of them.
Oh God, I'm trying to think.
If you had to pick one that was like, or just pick a couple off top that you really enjoyed, that you miss.
It was the most dangerous, and when we were doing it, it was just miserable to do. But cleaning oil tanks and traveling around with my brother.
And that's in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, Kansas, Needles, California, Denver,
You've been
Colorado.
around, yeah.
Yeah, we were around, man.
So you just clean these gigantic oil tanks.
Yeah. Or sometimes there might be little ones. Might be a week job. Or
Yeah.
you get a big one like in Denver, you might be there a month.
Now, when you were doing this with your brother, is this when like that shit happened with that guy who?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell that story?
We were in where were we? I think we were still in Oklahoma. Well, the thing is, you're cleaning. I have to explain. These big oil tanks, they don't just train them every goddamn year.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense because you got to literally open them up, and they have
It's
to
a
be.
huge task.
Oh yeah, and some. I mean, imagine some that makes you look like you're looking at the Syracuse Dome. I mean,
Jesus
some are
Christ,
huge. I
like
mean,
a
there's
stadium
there's
almost
propane
inside.
tanks that are a big ball that are 6 stories high.
That's insane.
Think about that. Well, imagine looking in this thing. Okay, you got to go up on these ramps. Some of them, there might be a dump truck inside and a bulldozer in them. But the ones that'll kill you are the ones where it's all done manual labor.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So what they do, they open these things up. They join the oil. But over those years, it's like anything. Sediment builds up. It sticks. It has to be cleaned out.
has to be, yeah.
And they have these giant, imagine a heating element.
Yeah.
But a heating element that might go 80 feet down
Well,
one way.
you were describing how these oil rigs would be like a city almost.
This refinery might be 5. Look at that one you see in Colorado.
Did you say
You
5 miles? I
the
remember driving
bigger
past
ones.
it, yeah.
Yeah, the bigger. When we were in Oklahoma, did you see how long we drove by that thing?
Yeah.
Well, you just saw it from this side. You didn't see it going that way
Yeah,
and then coming
forever,
through, and how
yeah.
much was in there.
Yeah.
It was literally, you had intersections that looked like you were on Main Street. You could see going up Port Watson and down, and Tompkins. You couldn't see the end of it. We'd be in the mornings, and there's all these trucks, and they'd pick their crews. It was like going off on city streets. That's how
Yeah.
big these, and these tanks all over. Well, anyways, we're in one. We're 2 weeks into it.
You're a crew.
We're a crew. We're like maybe, I can't remember if we were 7, 8 crew. I can't remember how big the thing was.
Yep.
Well, they'll tell you, here's your safety guidelines. They'll tell you where your gas meter, how you got to watch for pockets of gas building up
So
in there.
poison
Fumes, or it could kill you. It could
Kill you,
explode.
Yeah.
Or they say, do not, it's like you got to imagine you're walking on ice. You could be on ice, it might be this thick.
Yeah.
Well, if there's some place where the ice is only that thick, it looks straight, you walk right across it. Well, they would test all this and they put up these safety walks for us. So here's the door. So yeah, it's a little inconvenient. Oh, I got to go this way. I got to go that way.
Well, it's
I got
for
to come
your
back
safety.
this way, and I got to come that way.
Well, it's
yeah,
for your
because
own
they know
safety.
where you can go, and it's
Yeah.
it's on these planks. It might be wood. They put it down. They don't want people getting hurt.
Yeah.
And this guy, not mention did would he never stay on him? He'd fuck you pussies. We were on at least 6 jobs with this stupid fucker.
Yeah.
He would just
He's
not to
right in his
mention my
20s,
brother
right?
knocked his ass out because we're in a tank someplace and this fucker lit a cigarette inside a fucking oil
my
tank.
God.
I swear to God he did.
go up
Could have
and
killed us
kill
all.
of you.
He
Yeah.
could have blew up. I mean, you can't blow up the restraint because if there's ever an explosion,
Yeah.
they
Cut it.
they insulate it, so
Yeah.
it's not going to go.
So
but it
it's
can
not
still
gonna
do
kill
damage.
everyone,
Yeah, but this
destroy
dump, he
everything.
could have caused a. It would have been a fucking explosion.
Gigantic
It would have killed
fireball,
all of us. My brother knocked the shit out. So he didn't do
anyways,
that
what
anymore.
happened?
Anyways, we're on this job. We might be a week into this job. You know, every day, dude. This is the way it goes. Boss, you want to get fired? You want to lose your job? Whatever. He's only 21, 22.
He's
Big
young,
fucking
yeah.
idiot.
Yep.
Yeah, lazy as shit. Didn't want to work. But that's no reason for him. I didn't want him to die. So I said they're doing. He's like, yeah, whatever. Just like normal. The thing is, you didn't get to see him go. It's like all of a sudden you're like, what
Where'd he
the
go?
fuck? There's nobody here.
So what happened to him?
It ended up being, it was probably still 15 feet deep. Well, the first, he hit that little opening, but the crust part, I mean, you got to fight through it.
So he fell into.
It might be this thick, but as you go down, it gets thinner and thin. So, you know how things
Well,
settle.
for people listening, what exactly is it? It's a giant oil drum?
It's a giant oil tank you're
Oil
in.
tank, yeah.
It's a whole tank.
And he-
But, okay, the elements are here,
Yep.
but it might drop 10 feet, might drop 15 feet, depends on the tank.
Yeah.
The thing is, he didn't want to stand in safety, so he decides it's all hard on there. I'm just going to walk right across.
But it wasn't hard enough to hold his weight.
It's like on ice.
Yeah.
He hit a spot that was maybe this thick.
Yeah.
But as it goes down, at the very bottom, it's almost like gasoline.
Yeah.
But then it comes up, it's a little thicker. It gets to be like pudding. Then it gets to
Yeah.
be really tar. You know what tar is like?
Yeah, so it's
then it
just-
gets thicker and thicker
Yeah,
and thicker. Then it
dense.
gets that hard where it's been burnt on. Because it's been 8 years since I drained this
And that's
thing.
the part you could walk on?
Yeah,
essentially?
but you know
You're
you
not
could
supposed
not.
to, but
yeah.
he did anyways.
Yeah, you can hit it with a hammer. But guess what? It's
So
not
he,
like
he
that.
hit
It's not.
one spot that just was.
There was probably many of them.
Yeah.
It's like little pitfalls.
So anyways, this guy falls in and sinks into the oil,
He goes all the way down
the bottom. And how do you know
So,
how deep it was?
Probably 15 feet.
And he's under there, and he
He drowned.
never comes
He
back.
drowned
up.
on crude oil. Or he probably got down to the gas. He probably breathed in gas.
That's-
Liquid gas.
I remember how horrified I was when you first told me this story, because there's a lot of terrible ways to go. That just sounds like one of the worst.
Joe, we're outside this thing. I couldn't catch my breath. I'm imagining what happened to this guy. I could not catch my breath.
Now, what do you think the protocol was? Did they have to drain and get his body
Oh,
out?
check it out. Yeah. It
Yeah.
cost probably $1 million fucking dollars. Maybe more. I don't even know.
Because of this idiot.
They had to shut it down.
Yeah.
They had to, please, emergency squad. They close it all down. Within
They take
within an
statements?
hour. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Within an hour. No, they were. The guy basically committed suicide. He was just too stupid for his own good.
Yeah.
They come to the side. First they take an hour. They dig a trench about 20 feet wide and about 20 feet down around this whole fucking tank.
Yeah.
And then they come over and they had to cut the side right open and just
Split open.
all that, and they
pour out.
filled and made a big moat of all that shit.
Yeah.
Just they had to retrieve his body.
Did you see
Yeah.
it?
Oh no, I didn't
No.
want to fuck nothing to do with
No.
it. You wouldn't have seen much.
Yeah.
Just coated in oil.
Well,
and
yeah. What does that do to your body, your flesh?
You drowned on it.
No, but like,
Oh yeah, not to mention you don't go in there without Tyvek suits. Cause I'd be working, and if you happen to just get it on your
your
wrist,
skin,
it
it
would
burn you?
it would start burn. I mean, it was not like it's not like that.
Wait,
It's like
it's
oh shit, you might end up with you don't get it on. You got a blister an open blister. It
Yeah.
it's acidic.
So you imagine how long do you think he was in there before they got him out?
Probably 3.5, 4 hours.
Do you think he was like all like melted away by then?
Oh no,
no,
but no.
My
But
praise
yeah, I'm
is-
sure his skin was all.
Oh,
But he had
it's
his tie-back on. Still had
Yeah.
his suit on.
Yeah,
But his
Jesus
face would have
Christ.
been,
yeah.
and probably his hand. He might have had his gloves. He still had his gloves on.
It's a terrible, terrible story. But
He
you know
was
what?
21 years old.
What is the moral of that story, though? Listen.
Yeah, follow
Listen,
procedure.
yeah.
You know,
Don't be an idiot.
don't let your arrogance kill you.
Yeah,
He's
was
a
that
21-year-old
was that
man.
pride before the fall?
Yeah,
That's not even necessarily
probably
that,
before the
it's
drown. Yeah, it sucked. You know the thing is, then I didn't get sympathy for him until afterwards. He could have. I didn't have no use for the guy. My
Yeah.
brother wanted to kill him.
Yeah, he's just a useless
Yeah.
idiot.
And the thing is, from Buffalo, New York.
Yep.
Yeah.
So-
We were the New York people.
Yeah.
He was making us other New Yorkers look bad, trying to make us look bad. Not to mention, I'm not making this up either. Another thing, my work ethic. One thing I want to remember for is my work ethic, and I hope being a good dad. Thing is, they hated us because me and my brother were picked every morning. We were
Ass kicking brothers.
two brothers from New York. They
Yeah.
took us we were picked by the road crew every fucking day.
Yeah.
I had these I shouldn't say, but I had these other workers. They'd
Yeah.
be like, "Why don't you slow down?" I'd be, let me come over and check your page. Maybe you should. I think you're dead. They didn't want to work for shit.
Yeah, they just they knew
They
they
didn't
looked
like
bad,
us Northerners. It's true what they say. We are geared higher up here. We are just geared higher. You know? Not to mention my brother could pick up a fucking truck at high speed. He was as fast as me, but it's big. This big giant guy. You know.
Yeah.
He was a freak.
Well, the other story I think of when you mentioned like you and your brother and your days, I think you know where I'm going with this, was that day at the hotel or whatever. When you don't have to go into detail, but basically what happened. Your brother.
I can't remember where maybe we were in Needle. I don't know where the fuck we were. Well, we were cleaning oil tanks. What you see is the tank. You're working big hours. The road to the hotel itself, the road back to the freaking refinery. That's what you're doing. Oh, and I'm in there. I'm sitting, not even really awake yet. Oh, come on.
Your brother.
Yeah, come here. I'm like, oh, what are we doing? Okay. Takes me down. Like probably an 8-room. There should have been some kind of warning. Here's the staff. There's like freaking cop cars down here. And all this other shit. He goes, come here. He's like, oh,
he's all excited for this.
He goes, look, I go. First I'm looking, I go.
You look into a hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the bed. I mean, you look here. There's the bed.
Yep.
I didn't even go in the room. And there's it looked like a giant, looked like an eggplant to me. It was a man who had been
died.
just bloated, but he was as purple as a fucking eggplant and puffed up.
Swollen.
Oh, well, and that thing is, I'm trying to run away, and he goes, "Wasn't that cool?" I go, "What the fuck is the matter? I don't want to see this. I didn't want to see that, and I couldn't get that out of my fucking brain for months."
Makes you wonder how long he had been there for.
Days.
Yeah.
It don't take long to blow up like that.
Yeah, because
all that gas starts building up in the body.
gases and then the
He'd already been through rigor mortis.
Decomposition.
Yeah, he'd already been rigged, did all that. He must have been in there, could have had a heart attack. Who knows? Maybe he was doing drugs. Maybe he was with a hooker and she killed. Who the fuck knows? I don't know the backstory.
No.
I didn't want to know. I wanted to get it out of my brain as fast as I could.
I remember that you told me this. The smell was just.
I didn't even have to. Yeah, I didn't get any closer than that fucking bed, and his body was probably to where your microwave is.
Yeah. So you're like 15
and it took me,
feet.
besides finding my grandmother dead, that image was branded in my head. I hated your uncle for that. I didn't hate him. I'd be like, you really could have left me in bed.
Yeah, I didn't need
You could have
to see
took a
that,
picture. I would have not looked at it.
Yeah.
He made it sound like such a, oh, come on. He's like, oh, we got to see this. I'm thinking, what the fuck is the matter with your head?
Wicked,
You are
man.
sick. There's something wrong with you, you know?
Well, let's segue off of that into a much more positive subject, right? So, post your young days, post your fatherly days, you have your grandfatherly days, right?
Which is kind of
I know. Right
this
now,
has been haunting for the last month.
Yeah.
Your brothers, we got to get something going.
Well,
I'm not doing this.
Let's not focus on that. Let's focus on like that summer. When
Oh, God.
your granddaughter, my niece Evie,
Besides,
was
when you were young,
like 4 years old.
it would just happen by happenstance. And then going, I got to admit, at first I was like, I don't want to do this. This seemed kind of weird, but I'm looking back on that. I almost wish it didn't happen now.
No, you don't.
You get that
Yeah.
fucking taste of perfection,
Yeah.
and then it's yanked away.
Yeah.
And now I don't even see this girl, and I don't know. I hope.
Let's just focus. Let's focus on that.
Yeah, it was
time
such
though.
a great
Like,
time.
what that mean to you to be with your granddaughter?
Yeah,
your
it was just
granddad,
and to see
that summer you
that,
hang out
and
there
you
all the
got to
time.
admit her person. Every grandparent says it, but she has a spirit that just
Yeah.
flies out of her.
Yeah.
And I hope this absence. I'm just afraid. I'm hoping she's all wrapped up in her life and not thinking about that. But maybe it didn't mean as much to her as it did to me. Because I'm telling you,
That's really important to you.
when I was really sick last week,
Yeah.
those are the things that get me through. I
Yeah.
think about times with you.
Yeah.
I think about that time with Evie. I
Well,
go,
some of
Karen,
your-
you got to be here because there's going to be more time. Hopefully, there's going to be more times like that.
There will be. What's some of your favorite things you do with Evie though?
Everything.
Everything, yeah. Just like drawing
Watching
with her,
Bluey.
watching Bluey.
Feeding
Yeah.
her, making my biggest thing, making heart-shaped peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah.
You know, just all the
She's a great kid.
crazy thing the art me and her did.
Yeah.
Remember the big ice cream truck thing? We colored everybody. How always the kite markers and cover. Or just the Play-Doh things, just the drawing, like that stupid little wolf thing. I still got it on my phone.
Yeah.
Just sitting there, it makes People don't realize it ain't what you're doing for them; it's what they're doing for you. They're taking you back to you get
Your
a
childhood.
window to your child when life was so carefree and oh, it was just that interaction. Or being out
Yeah.
that backyard kicking a softball with her, a soccer ball, and picking her up and hiding the duck. Just being with Evie.
Just being with her, just
Yeah,
spend time.
just
No matter what you were
getting
doing,
a hug,
just having
and she'd
quality
be like,
time.
"Grandpa Kim," just that little thing, you know.
Yeah.
And she loved to see me all the time.
Just she was always so excited to see you. Yeah. Yeah. So she is an awesome fucking kid, right?
and I haven't
What
seen her
would
in
you say?
months.
What's your favorite part, like difference wise, between being a parent and being a grandparent?
The lack of stress,
Lack of stress, yeah.
lack of responsibility.
Because you basically just get the good stuff
Yeah.
without the stress of like,
But when she was sad, I could tell. I
Yeah.
could just come here. She knew I had that way of just talking to her.
yeah,
I love that.
did an awesome kid. I'm really excited to see what kind of adult she's gonna turn into.
This is going to be special.
Stellar, yeah,
Yeah, I do.
awesome kid.
I think she's got mad talent.
So to wrap this up though, if you had to tell the world anything, what do you want to tell them? Like if you want to tell young people something or just people in general, what's like a moral, something that you want to put onto people to help them out, or just give them a couple words of wisdom, you know, or a couple. There's anything that's on your mind.
Don't be afraid to let yourself be happy. Don't wait to be happy. Choose to be happy
Yeah,
and be happy.
yeah, I'm into
That's
that.
about it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
All right, well, with that, Dad, I really
I want a
appreciate
little hug.
it.
I want no hug.
Hug.
Thank you. I love you so much.
Thank you for doing this with me.
Are you
It's
kidding me?
been
I
a
was,
fun
I
conversation.
was nervous about it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how
It's
it worked.
been a blast, and we'll definitely do it
Yeah.
again for sure. But if you go, guys, if you enjoyed that, please definitely stay tuned. To be more like that. If you have any questions for me or my dad, you can always comment, and I'll try to get the questions to him.
Hi, Tristan. Matt, I would like to see you before I die.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day, and we'll catch you later.
Later.